The following is brought to you by the People's National Party.
Make the trumpets play. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We can tell me how we can do it together. When we look at the future of precipice, we see Jamaica needs the vision of the PNP. People said the bag of promises, them can't carry go shop. And the crime rate getting higher, wonder when it a go stop, comrades. Jamaican people want better. Economy coming like stormy weather. Ancestors are turning on them grave. We can tell me how.
The proceeding was brought to you by the People's National Party.
The scale of dealing with anti-corruption issues. So there is a learning curve that we are going through. What is important is that the government supports the development of the institution so it can accelerate very quickly on that learning curve and provide the resources so that they can move very quickly on the learning curve, and that the government does not intervene or interfere. And that message goes to the opposition as well. Leave the anti-corruption and policing agencies to do their jobs. I know why you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable. And stop making excuses for them.
Hello, welcome. Blessed Friday to everyone in television land. Blessed Friday to our silent supporters. Blessed Friday to everyone in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. As usual, really appreciate the continued support. Remember, guys, when you come in, thumbs up the live, share us out if you can. And if you're new to the channel, please show us some support by subscribing. That will be greatly appreciated. This evening's topic is People Power with your host, Mystic Sensation, which is Baron and Anne-Marie. And we also have Melting Pot in the building. Guys, remember to continue to keep those in Western Jamaica in your prayers, because they really need the continuous prayer and assistance. Let me just go ahead and welcome those in the chat. Lavina Miles, Doris McCoy, Patel Cruikshan, Truck Life, bless up. Lynette Jenkins, Beverly, Miss Jamupton, Laverne, Falmouth Girl 2, Yvonne Joy, Rosa, Louis Longshaw, Daniel, welcome. Without any delay, I'm just going to hand over to Baron Clarkey. Bless up yourself, welcome. Carla Ebanks, welcome. Bless up yourself.
Right then and there, honey. Thank you for that wonderful precursor as usual. All right, to all the peeps in the chat, once again, take it from Mystic Sensation. Bless up yourself to you all.
Lorna
right?
Williams, bless up.
People in the diaspora, right? Locally, enough respect, enough love. Now, let me just have Melting Pot, right? The man with the sledge, right? Introduce himself, right? Melting Pot, you
greetings and
meet
blessings
and greet
once
your
again.
wonderful people.
Yeah, man. Greetings and blessings once again to everyone tuning in tonight. It's a pleasure to be here, sharing the space with you and, the beginning of the weekend. So as usual, we'll go through the ritual as it relates to whatever the topic of the discussion is, but just want to say to all my Jamaican brothers and sisters, just keep strong and keep the faith, In Jah, all work will be great. So, regardless of the situation that is so tedious and problematic, still I have to keep the Heavenly Father in the midst of everything, you know. So, in that regard, just hold on to the faith. I must also acknowledge the host, as usual, Sir Lord Byron, and our technical capable director, Lady Anne Marie. And to, you know, people worldwide tuning in tonight, hope you all enjoy the show. And you're back to the host.
All right. Blessings, blessings, melting pot. All right. So my Jamaican people, you know, we have been hammering away, right, as it relates to the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, that in order for us to get the job done, right, in a very appropriate time, right, we talk about togetherness, we talk about unity, right, because you know that unity is strength. And we talk about, most of all, to just eliminate the partisan politics. But believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, the Jamaica Labour Party, as we speak, let me say that, so sad that you have seen signs of partisan politics, right, being, scattered all over, right, as it relates to dealing with the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. And it is sad. Now, what am I talking about? We have seen our Member of Parliament, Zulika Jess, right, being actively speaking as it relates to certain behavior that she had observed, right, and we're dead right shocked. But there's no surprise there, right, because, you just know that this is the way how they are, right? Dead right shocked came into her constituency, right, but only giving packages, relief packages, right, to the people who Delroy Truck believe closely associated with the Jamaica Labour Party. No, we can't have that. We can't have that. This is a crisis. Delroy Truck. Delroy Truck. Andrew Owners. This is a crisis. So again, you start to see the reason as to why Andrew Owners really and truly, right, run to have ADPEM in his office. To do what? Politicize the relief, the aid, so that, okay, all right, your member of parliament relating to the JLP administration, right, are the ones who actively out there and do what? Being selective as it relates to, offering relief aid. It can't be, sir. Prime Minister, it can't be. And so then now we start to see now in terms of how you move aggressively towards getting ADPEM right in your office. And these, now, let me say this. This is not misinformation or disinformation, Prime Minister. Right? If you don't know about it, right, it is actively happening as it relates to, right, your member of parliament featuring this type of behavior. We have also again seen Michelle Charles, right, giving out packages, and we are accomplice of Michelle Charles, right, saying to these people that if it wasn't for the Jamaica Labour Party, right, they wouldn't be getting the help. What sort of behavior is this? They are eating and drinking because of Michelle Charles. Are you serious? Are you serious? They are eating and drinking because of Michelle Charles. No, listen. I am so I mean, tired of this. So frustrated. So frustrated that these people are so insensitive to knowing to the fact that, look, this is a crisis that affected Jamaicans. So we're not talking about JLP and PNP. The crisis that affect Jamaicans. Andrew Owners, get it into your head. It affects Jamaicans, not GLP, not PNP. It affects Jamaicans. And people are seeing right through you right now. And see, I am going to show you, right, that the people of ADPEM, they are upset because of what you have done. Honey, let us go to the Jamaica Cleaner, right, where they are speaking, not a good move. And now we are seeing, so we have to refer back that now based on the behavior, right, that being reporting now. Come on, right? I mean, come on, man. You know, this is above your politics, Andrew Owens. This is above your politics, man. This is above your politics, man. People are suffering. People are suffering. Get it, man. Get it. This is above your politics, my brother. See it? Not a good move. Only admin taken to task by experts over management change at ADPEM. Right? The people are upset. A leading disaster mitigation specialist and a social development specialist have both cautioned against placing the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management under the jurisdiction of the Office of the Prime Minister, OPM, arguing that it was just not a good move, Prime Minister. Not a good move. Because what you have done now, right, you have now politicized the purpose of ADPEM. Right? You have now politicized the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management. They are not there to be partial as it relates to giving out relief stuff and to what? Streamline who are the persons who are supporters of GLP and all of that. ADPEM doesn't, right, do those things, right? Marginalized. Come on, where are you going with this? The marginalization within a crisis. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Prime Minister? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So then what the members of parliament, you know, are reporting as it relates to Delroy Chuck, right, and other members of parliament, right? We're talking about Michelle Charles. Oh, she is not a member of parliament. Why Michelle Charles been getting stuff, right, to go and deliver? Michelle Charles is not a member of parliament. She had been voted out. What are you doing, Andrew Owens? What are you doing? This is crazy. And here it is that Damian Crawford, now of the military man, right, in parliament, and really and truly start to turn him in a tufenke. The man doesn't know his head from his foot. People, look at this. Look at how Damian Crawford, right, doing this man. And I have to wonder why Damian Crawford have to be doing the man like that. Right? The man is a baby in parliament. The man doesn't know him head from him foot. And you see, this is what Andrew wanted. Now, before I play it on you, hold on. This man, right, this army person, doesn't have any form of knowledge as it relates to the Office of Disaster and Emergency Management. Doesn't have any experience, period, point blank and period. Doesn't have no form of experience. And Andrew Holness, right, with his dirty politics, right, remove the technocrats, right, and put in his office and now creating mayhem. Now creating mayhem. Now look and look people and see what Damian Crawford now turning this man, right, into a total tufenke. Look at this, people.
We've been waiting so long for this day to arrive. Now the fire is blazing, it's keeping hope alive. From Kingston City to the hills and
Damian Crawford roasts Commander Gale, the math class in Parliament. Welcome back to Parliament Drama Series, where Jamaica's politicians get exposed in real time. And today, Damian Crawford pull out the maths book, the calculator, and the common sense. And Commander Alvin Gale simply could not manage.
But I want to go back to the distribution of aid. Can you remind me of the number of packages that the government has distributed to this point?
I think it was 116,000.
15,000. It was indicated too that partners would have been distributing. Do you have information about that number from the partners?
Not in my notes here, but I can indicate, for example, that the World Food Kitchen was one of our stronger partners. To date, they have done just 1.3 million hot meals into various communities.
Right, but that's not packages. That would have been
that's hot meals.
Right, so they will give a daily distribution of hot meals. So if we work with the 116, you also indicated that you estimate that each package would serve about 4 people.
Yes, for 4 days.
For 4 days. So with about 20 days gone, then we should have had about 5 rotations.
That is ideal.
That is ideal. So with this number, we should have indicated that if it was serving a family of 4, then at best, each family would have received 1/5 of the time, or 1/5 of the families would have received enough times. Which one is the more likely circumstance?
Repeat this for my clarity.
All right. So for the 5 periods that would have existed since the hurricane, you have distributed enough food for 1 per family. So if it is 1 per family, then they would have received 1/5 of the times that you desired. Or was it that 1/5 of the family received enough rotations?
The reality of it might be a mix of the two.
Sorry?
Because we have been back into locations to issue products.
So in that case, therefore, there would be some persons that would have been in a rotation, indicating that there might be quite a bit of persons that have not been touched by government.
The possibility could exist.
How quickly could we get that information so that we can cauterize and immediately solve that situation?
We could see to work on it just to complete this week.
Is there any desire to work with members of parliament and their systems to provide some of that information?
Well, to the extent that we have been, I know the general instructions to the delivery crews is for us to cause that the PVCs are informed before we go into areas. And we, to the extent that
parish development,
disaster coordinators. Parish disaster.
PDCs, parish disaster
coordinators.
Remember, I'm telling you, a lot of people are watching, so there are a lot of these acronyms and abbreviations.
So to the extent that we're going into areas, Chair, then that is how we operate. We have seen in a number of instances, members of parliament or councils will come and they join in the
so if they find out about it,
but is there
then
any
they
call?
can show, but there's no message to them directly.
Right. Is there a
to
call?
say, we're
Can
going
there be
to
a call for areas not yet touched, people not yet touched, to be submitted? Because the numbers would suggest that either they are starving for 3 of the 4 of the 5 rotations, or 4/5 of them are not getting. So either way, the numbers are not working out on our behalf. Is there a strategy to get more information so that that can be rectified?
We can choose a strategy around that, and we can start by leaning into the resources which are there. Your PVCs, your councillors, the churches where necessary.
All right. How much water do you desire per day for the people?
Before we even reach the clash, let me remind Jamaica of something important. Richard Thompson, the man who led ODPEM for numerous of years, 2008 to 2025, trained, qualified, experienced in disaster management. Andrew Holness fired him. And who did he replace him with? A soldier, Commander Alvin Gale. No professional disaster background, no history in emergency logistics, no experience running national relief operations. And that, my people, is why Damian Crawford had to school him right there inside Parliament.
So if we work with the 116, you also indicated that you estimate that each package would serve about 4 people?
Yes, for 4 days.
For 4 days.
Yeah.
So with about 20 days gone, then we should have had about 5 rotations?
That is ideal.
That is ideal. So with this number, we should have indicated that if it was serving a family of 4, then at best, each family would have received 1/5 of the time, or 1/5 of the families would have received enough times. Which one is the more likely circumstance?
Repeat this for my clarity.
All right. So for the 5 periods that would have existed since the hurricane, you have distributed enough food for 1 per family. So if it is 1 per family, then they would have received 1/5 of the times that you desired. Or was it that 1/5 of the family received enough rotations?
The reality of it might be a mix of the two. Because we have been back into locations to issue products.
So in that case, therefore, there would be some persons that would have been in a rotation, indicating that there might be quite a bit of persons that have not been touched by government.
The possibility could exist.
How quickly could we get that information so that we can cauterize and immediately solve that situation?
We could see to work on it just to complete it this week.
Is there any desire to work with members of parliament and their systems to provide some of that information?
Well, to the extent that we have been, I know the general instructions to the delivery crews is for us to cause that the PVCs are informed before we go into areas. And we, to the extent that
the parish development,
disaster coordinators. Parish disaster.
PDCs, parish disaster coordinators. Remember, I'm telling you, a lot of people are watching, so a lot of these acronyms and abbreviations.
So to the extent that we're going into areas, Chair, then that is how we operate. We have seen in a number of instances, members of parliament or councillors will come and they join in the
so if they find out about it,
but is there any
then
call?
They can show, but there's no message to them directly.
Right. Is there a call? Can there be a call for areas not yet touched, people not yet touched, to be submitted? Because the numbers would suggest that either they are starving for 3 of the 4 of the 5 rotations, or 4/5 of them are not getting. So either way, the numbers are not working out on our behalf. Is there a strategy to get more information so that that can be rectified?
We can choose a strategy around that, and we can start by leaning into the resources which are there. Your PVCs, your councillors,
the
churches where necessary.
And speak to our people. Because I'm also going to give some background, right? You know, I have to laugh. Unbelievable. Let us talk to the Jamaica Labour Party administration. This is the reason why, Andrew Honest, your interference, right, as it relates to the changing of the leadership of ADPEN shouldn't have happened. your engagement within that process, you understand, is strictly highly political. Right? This is the reason why. Now, you have removed the army person and put him to adpen. This man have no experience in logistics. One, right? No experience in disaster management, right? And now, as it relates to the issuing of relief, right, aid to persons who are affected, right? A large numbers of these people, right, have not yet received any aid based on the rotations that have been already taken place, right? A large number of people. Now, let me just inject something in terms of that. Now, Melting Pot, do you remember quite well when Delano Seavright said that 90%, right, of the road access, right, has now been cleared for access, right? 90% in terms of the blockage on the road has now been cleared. So they are saying that they have a 90% access to all these people. Now, based on the questions in terms of what Damian Crawford, right, is drilling this person on, right, targeting, you understand, to have an understanding of, you know, the relief process and how it being distributed, to find out if it is distributing fairly and have a fairly spread, right, towards the region. However, based on what you have heard there, right, and even as it relates to what Delano Seavright said, 90% of access, you have a large number within the rotation have not receiving any, right, aid. So then we are wondering, is this a deliberate thing that been planned, right, by the Prime Minister to take over ADPEM so that it can be politicized, so that persons can be marginalized, persons who are not deemed to be supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party, right? They less attention will pay to these people, and people who they believe support the Jamaica Labour Party, right? You have, you know, extreme attention, you understand, focus on these people. These people are even getting, right, more than one delivery, right, within one given rotation. And while persons who they believe, right, not supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party, right, they are not receiving any. They are not receiving any. Thus, as we said, this is the reason as to why the Prime Minister, right, shouldn't politicize ADPEM by taking ADPEM, put ADPEM in his office, right, and change out, right, the managing director of ADPEM. What say you on the matter, brother Melting Pot?
Well, you know, as far as I can see, it's a deliberate ploy by the Prime Minister to, you know, reshuffle ADPEN in favor of his administration having full control of how that institution is being run. But, you know, in the case of Alvin Gale, what the Prime Minister have done, you know, is take this man from Jamaica and carry him all the way into the Bermuda Triangle and throw him off and tell him to swim. God, this guy not capable of the position that is given to him. That responsibility that is tasked on his behalf. He's a novice to it. You understand?
Totally.
And this is why I cannot relate to the question being asked by Damon Crawford. You understand? He doesn't even know the phrase that was being used in terms of the abbreviated word. You understand? So we know say him not qualified for the job. But when we look at the whole distribution aspect of the aid, that has not been done in the right way. And so you use the word marginalized, yeah? But it's not just marginalized. We have victimization as well. You understand? People who are deemed to be People's National Party supporters has become a victim of the system that Andrew Holness created, where Andrew Holness is now distributing the aid package into his own, era that him have him supporters. Yeah, and so you see a lot of these member of parliament leaving all the way from Kingston, traversing all the way down to St. Elizabeth and other parishes. Yeah, and 60 care package to their supporters. So what they are doing merely is to politicize the whole, aid program. And this is not the Jamaica Labour Party contribution. This is outside contribution. People who have Jamaica interests at heart, who felt the need to contribute to the program. But what we are seeing is that Andrew Holness administration is using this program as a campaign strategy. And we can't have that because it is totally wrong. Because even when this guy Alvin Gale make mention of the fact that the package where them give the people can last for 4 days. Yeah? For a family of 4. But I know 7 days make the week. And them don't tell me say, well then the people them get another package on the 5th day to coincide with the ending of the package on the 4th day. It's 7 days make a week. So technically, Alvin Gale is saying that the Jamaica Labour Party is starving people for 3 days and in some cases for the entire 7 days. Because some people now get nothing. And that is wrong. Radically wrong. And this is why the workers from ADPEN, has to take the Holness administration to task in terms of how he has hastily reshuffle and dismantle ADPEN and bring a guy who have no experience, no idea of the situation, but is tasked with the responsibility. No, this cannot be the way going forward because our people, are left to be, wondering where the help is coming from when there is so much help being given to the government. This must hurt the donor them, When the donor them hear the situation that still exists, the donor them must feel depressed. Because we know for a fact from the outset that this did ever take place. Because we know how Andrew and the Labour Party them function and how them like to administrate. Where, them see a little, reason to victimize people, them use it against the people. This disaster is a crisis that should have gotten the utmost attention from the Prime Minister. Yeah? But as can't regard him a play. The Prime Minister is paying scant regard. And so everything was done on a lethargic basis, no urgency. We all know so them feel in the rescue department. No search and rescue was done efficiently to save life. Yeah. And in the case of restoration of roads and communities, that was also a shambles. So when Delano Seabright mentioned the fact that 90% of the road, them clear it and reopen it for vehicular traffic, then we should have said 100 of truckers leave Kingston on a daily basis. Because you can't get the people them 4-day supply, And then them don't know when you come back, come give them next supply. You're supposed to give them a supply that can last them for a week. So say, all right, You have certain truck will go to certain places, and you know how much trip them truck they make to them district there and communities on a weekly basis. And you know when them go, them a drop off a 7-day supply, food and water. You understand? And just make the thing run smooth. Because I can't see the reason why Andrew Wallace, you know, is having problem dealing with this little crisis in Jamaica. A population of under 3 million. Yeah. But I see government in the UK with almost 70 million people when the pandemic outbreak, people was just being happy to the fact that, you know, the aid was coming from the government to them. Them get furlough, so them can't go buy them food. Yeah. That was what was in place. A stipendous wage package. You understand? And everything runs smooth. Medication was there. Everything like that. But Andrew Wallace, you know, as the man who said, well, then, him care for the people at Jamaica and I'm going to bring them prosperity. This is what we're seeing. This is what Andrew Wallace prosperity look like when victimized a majority of the people in the country. Because remember, the People's National Party have more voter than them, you know. So this guy have victimized the majority of the people in the country by ordering the goods them when get to give to the people, because you cannot have an office that is charged with the responsibility of distribution inside of the Prime Minister office. Politics going to become the order of the day. Had PEM remain independent and operating on its own initiative, I sure would have a better distribution policy. I wouldn't be hearing so much people crying out for help. You understand? Because it would be done on a non-partisan basis. And I mean, the whole thing would be structured around independent people. You understand? From civil society. We can't have politicians a dibble-dabble in this business here. The politicians, them supposed to work for mobilize back them constituency. Them shouldn't be seen distributing no care package. Leave it to the agency. Leave it to charity group. Leave it to people from churches. Yeah. That's how it's supposed to run, you know. Even school principal, we know people can participate because that was supposed to have, you know. We're supposed to have a nation building program in place at the moment where everybody help each other. But Andrew politicized the thing and turned it into a GLP support train where GLP in charge of distribution. So what happened to the 28 member of parliament from the People's National Party? What role and responsibility the Prime Minister give them? Because basically, them non-existent. Them coming like the people who are the victim. Them are ball for help as well. It can't be like that. People who are elected representative of the people of the country must have a role to play in crisis like what we're seeing now. And the role must be, you know, a role that they're well comfortable with doing because everything is running smooth. But the people have tedious problem. They don't not get no communication as we hear the guy say. The question was asked to him and him can't answer, so you know no communication now go on. Because them now know when nothing not distribute. Them now get no call, so well then all right. Mobilize your community because we are coming with 3 or 4 trucks. Not like that. Everything over the GLP side of fence. And we see people who are not parliamentarian, yeah, are participating in a distribution. People like Michelle Charles, yeah, people like George Rang. We see them and we ask the question. They are not elected representative of the people, but they are having these type of care package to hand out, while people who are elected representative of the people are asking for the help to give the people. What can go so? So we see Sir Andrew Holness is playing a brutal politics. Not just an ordinary politics. This is a brutal politics Andrew Wallace are playing. And we have to hold him accountable for this. Because everything rests on him shoulder now. Him can't come say otherwise. Yeah? Because the fact of the matter that you move at pen from where it was into your office, everything rests on your shoulder. The buck stop with you, Andrew Wallace. So the people we are suffering in the country right now is a result of Andrew Wallace's failure and Andrew Wallace's dictatorship and Andrew Wallace's evilness towards the people in the country. So we have to call the spade a spade. Yeah? When you look, you see nasty dead right truck. Left all the way from Grand Spen. They are St. Elizabeth and hand out 60 care package. My God, 60 care package. Then you want to tell me, say, him not have nothing to do in a Kingston? As a justice minister, what happened? Him vacate him office. Because we have a lot of unsolved cases in the country, you know. So the fact of the matter that him leave Kingston with 60 care package and go down there and I play political football. Political football him a play, you know. Because him not go down there as a true representative of the people of Jamaica. Him go down there as a GLP representative of the people of the Jamaica Labour Party. And I watch the other people suffering on the other side. We can't have this type of behavior by these people who are on some enormous salary package. Where the same taxpayer have fund them wages. The system is a flawed at the moment. The system where Andrew Wallace create is one that is designed to rip the heart out of the Jamaican people. Because right now I know some concerned labor right, you know, deep within themselves, you know, them know it wrong, but Andrew do. Them know it wrong. Because you have some genuinely nice people who support whatever party, who have compassion, who have love for people, and them hear what I go on and them see what I go on, and them know it wrong. So right now we just say to the administration, yeah, Andrew Wallace administration, pull your head in. Pull your head in. Because you're going like he's a loggerhead guy, you know. And I mean, we know it, but come on, man. Now is not the time for sure say he's a loggerhead. Just put back the thing in the hands of the people who have the knowledge and the expertise to carry out this role of responsibility. The thing for run smooth. Because you're so fortunate that you get so much cargo flight coming in. You get so much financial aid. But yet still, you're sitting on the fence and playing politics. And I yield back the floor.
All right, Melting Pot. Okay. And, you know, based on everything what Melting Pot has been saying here, right, that, you can't politicize, right, the relief aid, right, where you choose to give who you believe, right, are strongly Jamaica Labour Party supporters and marginalize, right, who you believe are the People's National Party supporters. That ought not to be done. This is a serious time. The people are in crisis, right? And you have to, finish the gutter politics. It is nasty, right? Now, we would wish not to be speaking about this situation, but obviously it is the reality and we have to highlight it. Now, Jamaica, let me say this in terms of, right, the sort of damage that we have seen, the effect to the economy. It's very serious. And I'm going to show you something, right? Earlier today at my previous live, I made mention right, of the recorded total to be 1.3, call it 1.24 trillion dollars affected in damage. US 1.3 trillion. Now, let me show you this evidence. Right? We are going to show you, right, one that reported 9.5 billion, right? And as according to the final call out, it's hinging on 1.24 trillion dollars. This is very serious, my people. Let us look. Sorry, 1.24 trillion Jamaican dollars, not US dollars. Let me correct that. 1.324 trillion dollars. Now, yes, let us see, show the impact.
Starting at the top or in the middle?
Impact. All right. Now, let us look at this, people. Jamaica faces 9.5 billion finance gap to rebuild after Melissa. Jamaica people, this is no joke. This is no joke. Now, Jamaica seeking funds to rebuild after Hurricane Melissa. Minister at COP30 calls in sliders victims of actions. Islanders, watch out. Islanders, victims of actions of what about brain gone. Country needs grants and investment more than loans. Right? Belém, Brazil, November 18, Reuters. Jamaica spent years building a pot of money to handle climate fuel disaster. It turned out to be enough to cover just what? Just what, Jamaica? Only 5% of the cost rose by one storm. Hurricane Melissa has left the island nation with bills totaling 10 billion, right? Only 500 million of which it can cover with climate preparation reserves stockpiled to deal with the disaster. Jamaica Cabinet Minister Manto Samuda told Reuters, take that away. Let us show them something else again. Right? Let us get to the next document. Right? As we said, serious time. Right?
That is a 1.24 now.
Yes, let us get to the 1.24 now. Right? That we are going to show. Right? Look at this, my people. Look at this. Right? Let us show you this. The 1.24 billion, 1.24 trillion in Jamaican dollars, right? That representing 41% of, GDP, right? And this is serious, right? Just hold on 1 second, my people. Let us just find that document. So here it is, right, my people. The World Bank has confirmed that damages from Hurricane Melissa are estimated at 8 billion, right, US dollars, and an approximation 1.24 trillion Jamaican dollars, representing what? 41% of Jamaica's GDP, right? St. Elizabeth, St. James, and Westmoreland were listed as the hardest hit parishes, accounting for US $5.5 billion, about $850 billion, or 63% of the country's total damage. These figures will be detailed in an upcoming joint report by the Inter-American Development Bank and the World Bank. So when you look at it, right, St. Elizabeth, St. James, and Westmoreland, right, as it said, were listed as the hardest hit parishes, accounting for what? 63%, right? As it relates to 5.5 billion US dollars, and in Jamaican dollars, 850 billion of the 1.24 trillion. So these three parishes absorbed 63% at the total cost of 850 billion Jamaican dollars. My.
And how much 3.2 million or trillion this is missing as a result of corruption? That money could have covered.
Yes. All right. My wife is just pointing out something. Now look here, Jamaica, because my wife just said something that is fundamentally important. Here it is. And let us go back over this and show you how important, right, what my wife communicated. Now, it is said the World Bank has confirmed that damages from Hurricane Melissa are estimated at 8 billion, approximately 1.24 trillion, representing 41% of Jamaica's GDP. What my wife had just spoken about, which is true. As it relates to corruption, because we have to point out this. Corruption, over $3 trillion in corruption, you know, that this current administration, right, cannot, let us say Jamaica, cannot account for. Now look on Melissa damage. Let us think about it for a while, right? Melissa estimated 8 billion US dollars, approximately 1.24 trillion dollars, right? Representing 41% of Jamaica GDP. So when we talk about, right, I mean, $3 trillion
from corruption could uncover the bill
unaccounted for, right? This partially taking you up to about 80%, right, of GDP. This is how the corruption is extremely serious. Take that away on it. This is how the corruption under the Jamaica Labour Party administration, right, is very serious, right? And I mean, if we could have now accounted for $3 trillion, right, as it relates to corruption, what corruption had taken away, right, unable to account for over $3 trillion, right? I mean, would be definitely on our way to recovery, to bounce back out of this. So when you look and see what corruption does, and Andrew Holness and his administration, you understand, under the surveillance of the Integrity Commission investigator, is a crying shame, Jamaica. That's what we are talking about. A crying shame, right? And yet, seems there, him still continue with him corruption, still a whole up at them. You understand? Wanting to steal more, wanting to sabotage, wanting to marginalize. He needs to go. He needs to go. Now remember on the thumbnail, you know, we said power to the people. I hope the people understand. Power to the people. That's all I am saying. Right? When you look at this, $1.24 trillion in damage as it relates to Hurricane Melissa. However, the country is suffering from a fatal category 10. What Andrew Holness and his administration committed upon Jamaican, right? $3 trillion unaccounted for. Over $3 trillion. Then you tell me, Jamaica, that Andrew Holness and his administration damage alone not going over category 5? Talk to me, Jamaica. We could talk, we could reason. Andrew Holness and his administration would have created category 10 because the amount of damage that Hurricane Melissa caused, $1.24 trillion, right? But look on the amount of money cannot be accounted for under the Andrew Holness administration, right? We are talking about over $3 trillion. Then you're telling me now Isn't that Andrew Holness and his administration? You understand? Deal with category 10 to damage Jamaica economy. Category 10. You understand? Category 10 this. Andrew Holness and his administration. And now they are jumping around. You understand? Still, you understand, committing atrocity on the life of Jamaican people, damaging, wiping out Jamaican future. Right? Criminals. Now, when I look at this, my Jamaican people, as it relates to the business communities, let us pay attention to the business communities now. Because with the business communities decimated, you know that the recovery situation is going to be, trust me, a protracted period, a long period. Because the business community being damaged, it simply means what it equal to a lot of people losing their jobs. So let us try to deal with this. People lost their homes, life damage. And on top of that, have to deal with the situation in terms of losing their job, losing their livelihood. Now, let us show you some of the damages through these business communities. And every one of these that I'm going to be showing, right, you are going to see, right, the damages. Okay, but before we go there, let us go to the UN report itself that speak about Melissa damage. And I want you to listen to this before we get to the business community, because, that is a ripple effect, right, in extension of damaging the business community. Let us get to that. Yes. Start there.
Small businesses that can't reopen because their equipment was destroyed. That's jobs gone. Supply chains disrupted, meaning imported goods cost more, meaning inflation rises, meaning your money buys less. That's purchasing power gone. Farmers who lost entire harvests. That's food security gone. And all of this creates a debt spiral, because now the government has to borrow billions to rebuild, which means less money for schools, hospitals, and infrastructure for the next decade. The UNDP's Kishan Kedu described it with 2 words that should terrify every Jamaican: generational shock. This isn't something we recover from in 2 years. This is something our children will still be paying for. When your daughter applies for a student loan in 2030, Hurricane Melissa will be part of the reason interest rates are higher. That's what generational means. Oh, and that catastrophe bond. The $150 million payout that made headlines. It covers less than 3% of the damage. 3%. That's like your house burning down and the insurance company handing you enough money to replace the doormat. But numbers, even numbers this staggering, they don't tell you what it feels like to live through this. For that, we need finding number 2. And this is where it gets personal. 1.5 million lives upended. Think about that number. 1.5 million. That's nearly half of Jamaica's entire population. 1 out of every 2 people you know was directly affected by this storm. But affected is such a sterile word, isn't it? Let me tell you what affected actually looks like. It looks like 32 confirmed dead, with that number expected to rise as rescue teams finally reach communities that have been cut off for weeks. It looks like thousands of families in Hanover, Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, Clarendon, waking up to find their homes partially or completely destroyed. It looks like a mother in Negril standing in what used to be her living room, now open to the sky, trying to explain to her 6-year-old son why they can't go back inside. It looks like an elderly man in Savannah Lamar who rode out the storm in his bathroom, the only room with walls still standing, clutching a photo album. Everything else he owned now scattered across 3 parishes. It looks like shelters overcrowded to the point where families are sleeping in shifts. It looks like food distribution lines stretching for blocks, people waiting in the sun for hours just to get rice and tinned mackerel to feed their children. But here's what the UN discovered that most news reports missed: the invisible victims. The UN Women Division released a separate analysis that should make your blood boil. Over 445,000 women and girls were directly affected, and their burden didn't just double, it tripled, quadrupled. Because when the power goes out, who's hand-washing clothes for the entire family? When the water stops running, who's walking miles to find a clean source? When the clinics close, who's taking care of sick children and elderly parents without medicine? When the food supply gets disrupted, who's figuring out how to stretch one can of corned beef across 3 meals? The UN found that women's unpaid labor, the invisible work that holds society together, doubled overnight. Doubled. And nobody's compensating them. Nobody's even acknowledging it in most recovery plans. So when we talk about 1.5 million lives upended, understand that 500,000 of those lives belong to women and girls who are now working twice as hard just to survive, while also processing their own trauma, their own losses, their own fear. At least 32 people confirmed dead. But let's be honest about what confirmed means. It means bodies that have been found and identified. It doesn't include the fisherman who went out that morning and never came back. It doesn't include the elderly woman in a remote St. Elizabeth village whose family hasn't been able to reach her because the roads are still blocked. Confirmed is just what we know so far. The real number is always higher. And this human catastrophe, this ocean of grief and displacement and exhaustion, this is what the UN's technology was designed to measure. Which brings us to finding number 3, the discovery that changed everything. Now, before I continue, I need you to do something. If this story matters to you, if you believe Jamaica's truth needs to be heard, hit that subscribe button right now. We're pushing to reach 10,000 subscribers because these stories, these facts that the mainstream media glosses over, they need a platform. And after you subscribe, drop a comment below. Tell me where you were when Melissa hit. Tell me what you lost. Tell me what you're feeling. Because your voice, your experience, that's part of the evidence
and
too.
let me just break down something for the people. Okay. Let us put some context to these people. Based on the damage of Hurricane Melissa, right? 41% of our GDP wiped out, right? More than 1 million of the population affected. What does this mean? It simply means that now we have to go to the lending agencies. And this is where it becomes serious problem for Jamaica. Because when we go to the lending agencies, what does this mean in terms of we going to IMF, right, and borrowing more from the IMF, World Bank, borrowing more from the World Bank, and in general, lending agencies, right, wherever we want to go and borrow the money from. It simply means rising inflation, food prices increases, right? Electricity bill increased. Social programs are going to be depleted, right? And hence, a generational poverty that is going to extend it for years to come. Jamaica, the truth be told, this is what we are facing. This is what we are facing, Jamaica. When you consider, you know, when I listen to that and I consider, where would we be if Andrew Holness did not come into power? Think of what I've said in Jamaica. Very serious tonight. Where would we be as it relates to the status of our economy if Andrew Honest, right, did not venture into power. Let me speak the truth to power. Number one, you wouldn't have the high level of corruption that you have. Number two, you wouldn't have $3 trillion unaccounted for. When you think of this situation, you realize that the vital and critical mistake that we Jamaicans made is to have this monster into power. And we are right here where we are. Right here where we are. Facing all these atrocities being meted out to us. Is it a situation that God is punishing us as a result of the mistakes that we made? A vital mistake. Because if Portia Simpson, right, was still there as it relates to then and now, the country wouldn't have been in this dilemma for sure, for 100% sure. Let me give you evidence. Between the period 2012 to 2016, the Auditor General, who did the Auditor General fingered for corruption? Let us ask that question. Between the period 2012 to 2016, right, did the Auditor General, right, finger out, right, any PNP member of parliament for corruption? Think of what I'm saying to you. Very serious. Think of it. Now, when we talk about the business community that damaged, some of them wipe out for good. When we said wipe out for good, we mean wipe out for good. Let us look at this situation and consider how many people who used to once work there are now out of jobs. Let us look. Let us get into it. We come up now with, of course, Mega Mart. That is in my place. Right? And that simply means, look at the damages. Yes, look at the damages, people. Right? Mega Mart to close. Melissa ravaged Mobile store after total loss. Right? Look at that. Look at that, Jamaica. There it is. Look inside. That is Mega Mart. Right? Wipe out all of their inventories. How can you come back from this? And might be many of these, right, were taken out through the process of loans and so forth. Look at the inventory. All of the inventory inside Mega Mart. Wipe out. Both the items on display and items in storage. Wipe out. Look at this, what we are looking at here, people. Look at this. Mega Mart Wholesale Club is to permanently close its largest store located in Montego Bay, St. James, after suffering a catastrophic flood damage during the passage of Hurricane Melissa. The closure brings to an end 18 years. Can you imagine, honey? 18 years of operation of the second city's largest retail anchors, leaving 165 employees without a job. And remember, I know, honey, that you have persons like taxi operators who used to, you understand, sort of getting benefit. You understand? All of that gone, people. All of that gone. Let us move to the next one. Let us move to the next one. Now, look at this. Flat in Jamaica, beloved Treasure Beach Hotel. For people who know Treasure Beach Hotel, look here. Look on the damage. Job lost significantly. Just look. Look at this people.
The restaurant started. A year later, the hotel started.
I have your boutique shop too.
Yes. Nice.
Which one
You want a gift shop? Oh boy, you have the harder they come.
I would
look at it before.
You have the Jack Sprat. We also carry the Pelican Bar shirt as well. There, which is
The Harder They Come. It's a phenomenal movie that was made by Perry Hensel and just spent an hour here.
Right. So we always have a seafood.
I was just so taken aback as to how beautiful that. It's probably the most beautiful style I've ever seen.
Yeah, man. Well, you're in the bread basket.
Yeah, right?
So look at the after. That is the before. Look at the after now.
Images, and I kind of want to do a different twist to this episode. I'm going to zoom in on Treasure Beach. Now, Treasure Beach is located at the southern part of St. Elizabeth, and this is the region that got hit first by Hurricane Melissa. So, of course, it's almost unrecognizable, and I'm looking at two famous establishments. The first one being Jake's Restaurant. This is a place that, it's a monumental establishment, especially in this region, and it was just floored by it. I'm going to show you the after and then the before when I visited it, and I got some time to talk to the people there and to try the food, and it was just all hospitality, and I want people to see what these places were in their prime so you can get an understanding of how hard the uphill battle is to kind of just renovate it. The next property is a property called Lashing. Now, this is a guy who's originally from England. He came to Jamaica, fell in love with Jamaica, met a Jamaican woman, married her, and he has just been very devoted to his property, developing it, very hands-on type person as well. Again, I'm going to show you what the after looks like with that establishment, and then what the before looks like. Now, keep in mind, we are expecting the high periods to really help pick you up back. These are all need your help to do it. And looks like this is what Jake's in Treasure Beach now looks like, right? I mean, it has been plummeted. I don't even know where you're going to start with something like this. I mean, you're going to have to require so much in terms of just picking up the pieces, and I don't know if you can get access to good carpenters at this moment. I mean, how are you going to?
Right, take that away. Right, so we have job loss there, right? This is quite serious, really quite serious.
The remnants of Hurricane Melissa.
This is the Rosedale Resort and Spa.
Go quickly, guys. I don't want to be standing here. Oh my god. Oh my gosh, Mom, please. No, look, it's lifting up.
Okay, take it away, honey. Look at that. Look at that, my Jamaican people. Look at that.
That got coffee, and about 3 minutes later,
look at
the
that.
window shattered, and this is the remnants of Hurricane Melissa.
Look at that. Let us play the and then we go to the panel. It's really, it's really heart rendering, right? to see the state of Jamaica today. Really heart-rendering.
Bahia Principe Hotels and Resorts will close its hotels indefinitely in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. The closure will affect Bahia Principe Grand Jamaica and Bahia Principe Luxury Runaway Bay. An internal memorandum sent to employees on Saturday indicated that the closures will trigger a redundancy exercise affecting staff at both hotels. The management of the hotels says arrangements will be made with service providers to assist employees who wish to seek alternative employment or who require counseling. It says consultations will continue throughout the process with the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, which represents the workers, to ensure communication and complete transparency. The management says the company will closely monitor the situation from the detailed technical assessment, which must now urgently be undertaken.
All right. So let me ask the Jamaican people, when are we going to see some sense of progress, knowing to the fact that the Jamaica Labour Party administration, right, is executing partisan politics, right, in the midst of this, right, disaster. And where we're talking about togetherness, right, in achieving one common goal, right, where all hands must be on deck to build back the economy. And as it relates to now, the Jamaican Labour Party is just not making the effort. It's strictly partisan politics down the line. Melting pot, coming into the space.
Well, we have so much we really look at right now. But one of the topics where I want to start off with, you ask a very important question. Where would Jamaica be if Andrew Holness wasn't the Prime Minister? And my answer to that, Jamaica would be in a strong position to deal with its own internal affair. Because you have to remember, this $3 trillion, is very significant in the schemes I think right now, if that $3 trillion was not being fleeced through corruption. You understand? Because just look at the estimate. Just look at the estimate by the World Bank. 1.24 trillion, which equates to 41% of the GDP. So just put this $3 trillion now in its rightful place where it's supposed to be. And the Prime Minister have that $3 trillion at his disposal right now. Jamaica would have built back with less headache because you'd have the resource as it relates to finance. Yeah? But because them use corruption and wipe out that, Jamaica find itself where it is currently. Because that $3 trillion, if we have it, we could have funded the 1.24 trillion and we have back 1.76 trillion leave over. You understand? And so the $3 trillion we're gone. You know what GDP that equate to? Over 90% of GDP.
GDP.
Yeah. Over 90%, my people. So when we're there over the years and we are talking about them type of behavior pattern by Andrew Holness administration. And some people out there think so, well then, I want to them man every day, them just come and I say this and I say that about Andrew. No, I see the reality of what we are talking about. These are the ramification now. When a problem in front time and him can't meet it head on, he might go sideways from the problem because he can't face it. Because Andrew Holness administration mash up Jamaica. No two ways about that. When me say it ravished Jamaica just like what you say Melissa do. Because Melissa only do 1.24 trillion. But Andrew Holness administration do $3 trillion worth of damage in terms of that money not being in the place where it's supposed to be. It cannot be accounted for. It gone. It gone on some vacation or what I don't know, but it not the way it today. So we look on corruption now. Yeah? And we see what corruption do to a nation. Corruption doesn't enhance a nation, you know. It take away from a nation. And it leave people in a procurement situation. You understand? Where you have to start finance your own life. Where is the finance? Because the diaspora exhaust now, you know. I remember the administration is not credible, so nobody now give them the money. What Andrew Wallace has done to Jamaica is to plunge Jamaica into a dark place where the light now shine upon Jamaica anymore. Because part and parcel of the problem, you know, is man-made catastrophe by Andrew Wallace administration not undertaking the care of our infrastructure. When you leave gully, yeah, culvert and drainage unattended over so much years where we see all pile of rubble in a sandy gully. Where we see one section it look like the Amazon. Where we see down in a Clarendon overgrown shrubs full up the drainage them. And when we look and see the whole infrastructure as it relates to garbage collection for a long period of time, and do not collect garbage. And so people use the gully and the drain them as a disposable point for them garbage. So you know, say, part and parcel of what happening in Jamaica are man-made catastrophe by the Andrew Wallace administration not taking care of the infrastructure. When it comes to all of the whole heap of building where you see them are going with, I don't think they have done the proper engineering feasibility work as it relates to how you go build the building code. I don't think they would have that in place. So a lot of building construction site, yeah, I would term them to be unregulated in terms of how the infrastructure where we are looking on, with the layout where we see, not fit for purpose. Because a lot of the scheme them a build, and you know, I'm not run off for the water. Them they on a flat plain of land. And so the water, when it rise, it has nowhere, it have no runoff. And then it have no gully, nor no drainage. Yeah, you know, with drainage facility, you know, non-existent because rubbish full up them. So we have to look for Andrew Wallace now as a guy where, you know, him not have the leadership quality. Him not possess that none at all. Yeah. And so Jamaica faced with a crisis when you have a man like Andrew in charge. Real crisis. Because I don't know where Andrew going to get the money from right now. Yeah. And if him do get the money, the strain rate I go put on the citizen of Jamaica, it's going to be enormous. High inflation. I mean, I talk about inflation, we are going to rise above your salary package. You understand? So your salary can't compete with the high inflation. Everybody are going to feel that. Right across the board. Nobody can escape it. None shall escape this judgment. And this is a judgment where Andrew Wallace administration bring upon Jamaica. So sometime when a nation, you know, turn it back against the Almighty, the Creator, you know, then you know you have to pay the penalty. And some of the penalty are things like this. What we say, where you know the hands of the Almighty destroy a nation to an extent. So Jamaica now have to look forward to, you know, a different mindset. You see this type of politics where I see a lot of Jamaican are participating in, where because a politician you that tear up your neighbor and your friend and ruin section of your community because over there so I said this and over there so I said that. Now is the time where you have to open your eye and see what unity and togetherness look like in comparison to when people life is being destroyed. Yeah. When everybody know in the same boat as sail. Just take a look. Because Jamaica need a father figure. Yeah, to lead the country. A man that strive with the Almighty. Not a man that is a demonic devil. Not a man that, mythical God. As it relates to this slogan where we hear, bro God. No, all them things that contribute to the demise of our nation, Because remember, and an earthly man create this world, It's a heavenly Father create this world. So when you see man on earth a go on with a rain, him can only rain for a time. Can only rain for a period of time. So the wave of destruction, where you see Andrew, wave across the entire landscape of Jamaica. Where we see all type of manner of evil, of cruelty, and wickedness being unleashed upon our people. There was a word when my grandmother used to tell me. She said, son, when man a plan, God wipe out.
Yep.
Yes, my people. So sometimes, our thought process have to synchronize with the Creator. Yeah. And looking at ourselves and see where we're going wrong. Look into ourselves and see where we're going wrong. And the fundamental problem that Jamaica have that is changing the nation from a more cohesive and togetherness population to a divided population is the fact of the matter that we have a guy like Andrew Hollis as the head of the country. A man that does not truly believe in the Creator. A man that don't believe in love and unity. A man that believes in destroying people's life for political gain. Well, when you have a leader that practice this type of behavior, there will be a ramification at the expense of this type of leadership. It's just like Pharaoh back in the days. He was destroyed because he wasn't a good leader. He was an evil person. Andrew Holness fall into that category. Andrew Holness fall into the category of a Pharaoh. So, sometimes them say, let not your heart be troubled, nor your mind be worried. Sometimes you just have to just know, say, in life, there are penalties that we all have to pay the price for. Yeah? Jamaica pay a high price now if you have a leader like Andrew Holness. A man that truly don't have the love for the people nor God. Because if you love the people, you're going to love God, And if you love God, you're going to love the people, vice versa. Yeah? But in Andrew Holness, him don't have no affiliation with the two above word that I mentioned. Neither people nor God. He's a man who believes in him cronies and himself and his family. And after that, to hell with everybody else. All who are run around behind Andrew Holness and I shout, bro God, and I say, choose Jamaica and all type of him slogan. Just remember, say, this guy now have no interest in him heart, No. What see him do for Uno? Even right now, you know, the handing out distribution. I bet I can do. I try him get so much and it pack up, him still have to ship out some, but you notice him now roll out the program in the way how it's supposed to roll out. Because we just a 90 road now possible for traverse, you know. The law no see right to that. So we should ask the truck them and leave Kingston in droves.
Exactly.
Like a convoy. Like a convoy. Are going to these affected areas. Yeah. And the 3 most critical parishes, yeah, the United Nations, them identify it. St. James, St. Elizabeth, and Westmoreland. Yeah, just look on the numbers. Yeah, 5.5 billion. Yeah, 5.5 billion, you know. Just for them 3 parishes there, we are talking about US. So you get 850 billion in a Jamaican dollars. No, the extent, well, I come to that, the extent of the damage, yeah, that those 3 parish suffer, total 63%, you know, 63%. So when you take that 63%, yeah, and evaluate it to the 1.24 trillion, you see how much them 3 parish they need to rebuild them back. You see how much them 3 parishes they need to rebuild them back. Now, when you look on the number of people that are affected, as it relates to over half of the population, yeah, and when we know for a fact they have more women, more female in Jamaica than male, so you know, say the female fraternity of the population is being affected heavily, and you can't have that. So we are look say Andrew Wallace now would have moved swiftly towards remedying the situation as best and as quick as possible. But Andrew Wallace started
deliberately
lacking, and yeah, deliberately find himself on the back foot. And I know it's not because him don't have resources, you know. Him get resources. Him have the army. Him get also army personnel. Him get aids and him get supply. So Andrew now should I utilize all those commodities, yeah, effectively to prove to the people them say he's working on their behalf. But Andrew play politics, sit down on the fence, yeah, and I select places, town and parishes where I'm supposed to go. And have some guy from within the administration all over the place and do PR and I tell lie. You understand? No government destroy an agency in a time of crisis when that agency is the agency that have the responsibility to deal with those type of disaster. No government do that.
Let me say something to you. Let me say something to you because maybe you can give some internet too. You remember that we have some search and rescue team come from El Salvador?
Right.
What happened to those people? What happened to that team? We are not seeing
it. Over 300 of them.
Yeah, we are not seeing them.
No, we're not seeing them. That's why I say them get the help from outside as it relates to people for match with female army personnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we don't see them. Yeah. I don't know what happened. We don't see them. But we know they arrive in Jamaica. We know they arrive in Jamaica. Yeah. But we never see a deployment of these people into the affected areas. You understand? No. And so we are asking, yeah, what caused Andrew Holness to have the mindset here towards the people and the country? What? We have to ask the question. It's $1 million question right now, you know. It's $1 million question. So we have to just look on this guy as a guy was supposed to go. A guy will leave the seat. The entire nation supposed to rise up against this man of the country and him administration. Because if you not see nothing clear than crystal, just the demolition of ADPEM show no what type of leader the country have. You cannot destroy the institution that is there to look over and preside over a situation like a Category 5 hurricane. You can't do it. And you can't come tell we say you use a guy like Google Gaga in a 2024 for audit these people, these agents. You can't do it.
Oh, Jesus.
But these are the nonsensical information where we are get from Andrew Holness. It don't make no sense. Yeah. You can't bring a guy like Alvin Gale, who we see, say him have no experience, him don't even have the confidence to even answer the question them. It's like you bring a basic school child into a secondary institution. First, him a hear all some of the abbreviation. First. But at this man you have now in our press conference with people. Yeah. Nobody couldn't get no sense of what the man has said. The man works on Google Gaga. So it look like a big Google Gaga there in the army. Andrea use them. Some yes man and some lackeys them big. I think Google Gaga was the number one. This man run past Google Gaga in a short space of time. Short space of time. He was made to look ordinary by Damien Crawford. Yeah. So Peter Bunting up here try to balance him up and him still a drop down. I'm not ready. Him not ready. And this is where Andrew after half a Jamaican. Yeah. These type of, you know, lunatic when recruit. Lunatic, you know. I be a lunatic Andrew a recruit. And I put them in charge of sensitive office and ministry. We see it. We see it. And we ask ourselves the question. Then a guy in a job for so long and him can't get the drift of how to administrate. That's why we say Andrew and a prime minister material. And him certainly not surplus to requirement right now. Because everybody I feel it, you know. All labor right I feel it. Labor right I feel it right now. And they're going to feel it harder in the months ahead. Because when the high inflation kick in a brother, hell and powder house down at Jamaica, and this, and of something, me I go ask if it a come. Me know it a come, like how we didn't know some Melissa a come. So it's a warning to the people. The choice is yours. The time is now to get rid of this barbarous leader where we have in the place. This demon of an individual. This nonsensical prime minister where we have sit down on a big fat salary. Yeah. Where I reap nearly 30 million a year. We can't have this guy. Because remember, you know, this administration, you know, move 3 trillion from the Jamaica's taxpayers' funds. Yeah. But right now we are facing a 1.24 trillion expenditure to start the rebuilding process. And him not have a cent because he broke the country. Andrew broke the country, man, Pumvaz and the rest of them. Steal the taxpayers' money and use it on campaign. Andrew forgot prison for that alone. You cannot use taxpayers' money to fund political campaign.
And that's
exactly it's in the 1944 People's Act. Andrew must know that. So Andrew, let the real people come in and grab you, you know. You know, see about the daylight. And all who around you will carry out this illicit behavior. Them not see back the daylight. Because the trees we want to carry out, you know, are one of the highest trees you ever see anywhere else in the world. On a percentage scale, taking into consideration, Jamaica is a third world country with that population under 3 million people. But yet still you have a government move so much money. God almighty, man. Over 90% GDP. Over 90% GDP, my people. This is the severity and all this corruption. Now it a play out. And a foreign people are telling you the numbers, you know. I don't mean our mistake. Now Lady and Marie, you know. A foreign counterpart putting these information out there, showing the state of affairs of the Jamaica Labour Party administration and what the high level of their corruption has done. So when me, Melting Pot, take the hot seat, and my brother Byron over there, so, and we come for beat it till the hammer bend, we want the people understand, say, we not look no friend with nobody. We just do our work. We God inspire we to do. Yeah. That is the mission where we have to correct the fault and the problem in Jamaica. And I yield back the floor, my brother.
Wonderful, wonderful communicated Melting Pot. Solid points. Right, real solid points. But Melting Pot, we could show them something again. Because we don't have any other choices, you know, as it relates to the situation that we are in. We have to borrow. We are now in a position that we must borrow. Because I mean, the catastrophe bond, right, and all other insurances, right, and what we are getting is only a drop in the bucket.
Well, that equates to 3% of the damage.
3% of the damage. And so then we are in a situation, right, where there is no, you know, going around. We must borrow. And the faster, the thing, Melting Pot with that, the faster we do it, right, and that is one of the reasons why coming together is so important for the opposition and the incumbent to work together and for the critical thinking process, because what is really our dilemma now is the lack of leadership, Melting Pot. Yeah. And it shows you in a time like this how critical leadership is. You understand that if you have a good leadership at the helm in this time of distress, we would guarantee that, you know, all is, you know, although all is not well, but we have a good chance, you understand, to bounce back quite quickly. The problem that Jamaica is really experiencing in its most negative form, right, is the poor leadership quality that we have. And people need to speak the truth, right? We don't have a solid leader at the helm, right? And this goes to show you the ripple effect, you know, of corruption. You understand? Where we land ourselves today as it relates to $3 trillion unaccounted for. We are not saying that, okay, it's all $3 trillion may be stolen, but I mean, the misappropriation, you understand, of funds through, you understand, procurement processes, right? When we look and see how Andrew Holness administration spend money in terms of spending the money, spending $17 million, Melting Pot, and a welcome sign in Montego Bay. Is the repercussion, you understand, for that. When you look and see how Andrew Holness spend $12 million for signing Negril, again, it's problem. You understand? And here he is, you understand, looking quite silly, Melting Pot, in Parliament now, after flown over the area and see, you understand, the devastation. He's now offering what? $10 million per constituency. This is just unimaginable, right? Unimaginable, right? In terms of the Prime Minister. I think that the Prime Minister is heartless, And I think that the Prime Minister deliberately suffering Jamaican people for the very simple reason, to the fact that he knows that the Jamaican people did not vote for him. And so each of the Prime Minister action, you realize that the Prime Minister is struggling with a guilty conscience, knowing that he has stolen the election. And he knows very well that the people of Jamaica don't really, you understand, voted for him, right? So these are the conscience that he has to struggle with. Now, let us talk as it relates to our status prior to Melissa, because we are in a very dangerous situation. Now we are going to have many social programs are not going to be realized. People need to understand. You understand? Our healthcare is going to in a worse situation. You understand what I'm saying? Our bridges and certain things are going to stop because we are now going back to the lending agencies. And the austerity measures now are going to meet out. You see where I'm going? Now, I was listening to one of the economists. I am going to play him just now, and he was talking about what amount of benefits we are getting from the tourism. You understand? And it is amazing because we're partially not getting anything right from tourism as it relates to how tourism benefit the country, right? And it's a very solid economist. I'm talking about Knife. You understand, the man at the university there, right? Speaking, right? So we are going to get to him. But when we look on pre-Melissa, right? Jamaica used to export, right, 1.7 or 1.6 billion dollars, right, per year melting pot, and we importing, right, per annually 5.4 billion dollars, right? Really and truly, put us in such a high deficit. But now we are going now back. The thing about it, our food basket. Now, this melting pot, let the people understand this. If we were exporting $1.7 billion, right?
Yeah.
As it relates to GDP. Now, watch this now, melting pot. We know that a significant amount of that, right, goes to agriculture, right? Now, what Jamaican people need to understand is that the food basket has now damaged. You see where we're going? You see the predicament that we are in, melting pot?
Yeah.
The food basket damaged. A large section of our agricultural sector damaged. Simple means now, what we're going to have to do now, melting pot? Export more. Import more.
Import more, because we don't have nothing for export.
And guess what? We are going to export less, far less.
Yeah, we don't have nothing to export.
Okay.
Currently we don't have nothing to export.
Well, we have several things to export. We have hardship.
Well, and lies.
Hardship, lies, and corruption. We don't know if we can export that.
We can, well, I don't know what that type of commodities.
Well,
you understand? Yeah.
So we are talking
about that.
Yeah, we are talking about the ripple effect of this Melissa thing. So then it wiped out our food basket, a portion of our agriculture. So we are going to, export less, far less. But now we have to increase our import.
Yes.
So then what is going to be our trade-off? Our trade-off is going to now, in the extension of roughly might be about $6 to $7 billion.
No, more.
Possibly more, you're right.
You have to run it off about 10 billion.
Right? I am just trying to be measurable,
Yeah, that's what we mean. Based on the population figures, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because
you're right. You're right in the melting pot. You're right. You understand? Because remember, you understand, and one of the reasons why I say you're right, because you understand, we are going to export far less, right? And we partially might be possible, you know, adding about might be another 40% or 50% to
importation.
importation.
Yeah.
You understand? That is very serious for Jamaica. It simply means, let me tell Jamaica what that means for Jamaica. So if a price of bread was selling for $500, when that austerity measures start to now hit us, right? We are now going to buy that same slice of bread roughly for about $900. You see where I'm going, Melting Pot?
That's where it is.
So then Jamaica really in a tight situation, you know, my brother. Really in a peril, you know.
Yeah.
The country really in peril. You know, but again, Melting Pot, this is just, you know, let us here, we're going to put up something and show you that even when pre-Melissa, we were not getting anything from tourism. And so then now tourism limping, right? As it relates to the dollar, we were only getting 20% of every dollar make, you understand, produce as it relates to tourism. 20%, 20 cents.
20 cents. Yeah, I'd rather you use that. 20 cents.
20 cents
yeah.
of every dollar. So then we are going to in a serious look. Let us get into this and show the people. The Jamaican economy only get 20%, right? Look at this, Jamaica. Let us hear what Brother Knife is saying.
Remember that Jamaica is a country. When you talk about all the Virgin like Butch Stewart and Sandals, remember that Jamaica gave Butch Stewart here Jamaica, you know. Them give him a plane for himself, you know, Virgin. And it was so sickening.
In regards to tourism, right? How will Melissa or the effects of Melissa impact tourism on the short term and also the economic confidence of Jamaicans and the world's view of Jamaica as it rebuilds?
What you say, my brother? From 1999, we had what was called a tourism master plan. I had to review that plan in my PhD work. And the tourism master plan said that Jamaica should really look at what is called an alternative approach towards tourism. Not the sun, sea, and sun approach, but more what them call nature tourism and things, you know?
Eco-tourism, far right?
Yes, eco-tourism. Some more nature-based tourism. The man never adapt those things. You see, people like to think about tourism. Tourism, them say bring in the most foreign exchange in Jamaica. And also employ a significant part of the population. But let me tell you something. Do you know that tourism is a sector that at the least, I want people listening to this carefully because some people like to jump to conclusion, you know, at the least positive multiplier effect on the Jamaican economy. What do I mean by that? The leakage, and some of these guys in government are liars. The leakage from tourism was estimated to be 70%, which means that 70% out of every dollar generated in tourism leaves the country. It was up to 90%. To make it worse, if you speak to a sister like Dr. Caroline Hale, who speaks about the tourism system, she talks about the industry, the hotels, the generating market, and the transit route. What she's saying is that 80% of the dollar is already spent in the generating market. So in this case, let us say the United States, the generating market, 80% of the dollar is already spent in the generating market and in the transit routes. So between the booking people and the planes. So it's only 20 cents comes to Jamaica. And out of that 20 cents, 70% of that 20 cents leaves Jamaica and go back overseas.
Take that away. I just want, right, as it relates to the well-studied research that Knife has done and make Jamaica realize that from tourism, we are not getting any significant benefits from tourism, from the entire tourism industry. Because as according to what Knife said, 80% of the dollar had been utilized overseas, not circulating in the Jamaica economy. It's only 20 cents off the dollar. And that 20 cents, as it relates to employment, right? And where, you know, other stakeholders maybe benefit.
He says 80% out of that,
right?
20% still leave
And
that 20 cents.
Exactly. And so then when you look and see that from tourism, Jamaica get the least amount of benefits. The least amount of benefit. Right? So we just want people to understand what he's saying. Let us continue with Dr. Knife. Let us continue with Dr. Knife. So we just want you to understand where Dr. Knife is going. So let us continue with that Dr. Knife for a little while. Oh, you take it off?
Yeah, where what is under again?
Okay, all right. Let me.
It's there. Just tell me what it's under again.
Okay, it's under power of the private sector. Right? So Dr. Knife is explaining to all of us, right, that we are not getting anything from tourism, and that is pre-Melissa, you know. Right? Let us continue with Dr. Knife to just educate our Jamaican people. To educate our Jamaican. That's the reason why I don't dig capitalism.
Was estimated to be 70%, which means that 70 cents out of every dollar generated in tourism leaves the country. It was up to 90%. To make it worse, if you speak to a sister like Dr. Caroline Hale, who speaks about the tourism system, she talks about the industry, the hotels, the generating market, and the transit route. What she's saying is that 80% of the dollar is already spent in the generating market. So in this case, let us say the United States, the generating market, 80% of the dollar is already spent in the generating market and in the transit routes. So between the booking people and the planes. So it's only 20 cents comes to Jamaica. And out of that 20 cents, 70% of that 20 cents leaves Jamaica and go back overseas.
Farah, hold on, Farah. I knew it was bad. I didn't know it was that bad. Because when I speak about tourism, people say I'm talking foolishness. But continue. I didn't know it was that bad. I knew it was bad.
No, because most of people don't know.
And I think, you know what I think what occurs too is that you see the social media, there's a pro and con to this thing. One of the pros is exposure to the island. But one of the cons is the misconception about what's going on in the island. They see people, they see a person with a lot of views in Jamaica. So in their mind, they figure tourism is booming. When I'm there and I was in Montego Bay in June, I was talking to the taxi drivers. Friday said it was quiet. They was waiting for Sunfest.
And remember, this is in the context of Jamaica getting the #1 destinations about 2 to 3 years in the last 5 years, And it's also about Jamaica having about 5 million tourists coming here now. So what you have is that tourists come to Jamaica, then go to the hotels that are controlled by TUI and the German, because most hotels in Jamaica, though they might think say those are Spanish-owned hotels, those are actually owned by Germany and a Spanish brand. So them come to the hotels, them go to the hotels, the money is spent in the hotels, and the money leave. The people in the hotels are underpaid, overworked, and trapped in a culture of subservience. No, I'm not saying that it don't create a job, but the jobs that it creates cannot meaningfully improve the quality of lives of the people. Some man say, okay, nice. So you talk about tourism and like tourism not good. What should we do? Do you know that agriculture makes up about 8% of the GDP already? And the data has shown that if we had a $4 billion investment in agriculture, you could actually double the contribution of the GDP to 16%. And if you double the contribution of agriculture to the GDP, because it feeds into manufacturing, which is also a big part of the GDP, I think about 7 or 9%. Don't quote me on that. Maybe just check at the figure. It will also boost the improvement in manufacturing. Those will give more meaningful contribution to people life. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to get rid of the hotels, because that is for them part of the business. And let me tell you my bias, truly my brother. I write the National MSME and Entrepreneurship Policy. See? So I'm also of a mindset when I was thinking about how do we endogenize growth? Meaning say, how do we ensure that the engine of growth is owned and controlled and generated from your own country? See? That is where my mindset is. So when people hear my reason like this because of the amount of research we do, and also my research focus. And in doing the research, I have to also look at what at the macro level and the micro level. Tourism has never really endogenized. It can't endogenize growth because it's not owned yourself because of the leakages. So if you have focus on those in the micro, small, and medium enterprise. Now, the people in the alternative tourism industry, like the community-based tourism and the ecotourism, they will form a part of the micro, small, and medium enterprise. The sun and sea and sand hotels, those are in the big business, and those are the ones that have the leakage. So I'm saying the status quo can continue to focus on their thing, but I'm saying concurrently, it don't have to be a zero-sum game. It don't have to be one or the other. I am saying just as you put so much incentives into building out that form of tourism, why we don't put the same incentive in building out the more community-based tourism, which you know is going to impact people more, agriculture, which are going to impact people more, the cultural and creative industries, that is going to impact people more, because the cultural and creative industries have about 14 different areas. Control the mining sector properly, which means that when you negotiate with the people for extraction of things, you do it properly, you don't sell out your country. Jamaica and the Caribbean never need tourism in the region. That was a strategy developed in the 1980s. Sorry. Under Reagan and Thatcher in the region. When them creators call it tourism act, as a trap. It's not asking this. It's a trap. Where you become dependent. You cannot be dependent on an industry that you do not have control over.
Take that away.
So now you're going to have a big fallout in tourism.
Take that away. We are going to show, right, and I glad on knife, right, a man who is well studied, have his PhD, right, and is telling you the importance, the focus that we need to have, right, on the small businesses, and have that focus on agriculture, right, that you are getting more benefit from, and where, of course, that spread of profit from agriculture, you understand, will circulate within the country's economy in the space, as opposed to tourism, right, where we are not getting anything. 20 cents at every dollar, majority of that, you understand, being utilized outside of Jamaica. Outside of Jamaica. So when we are talking, right, and we look and see the focus, what Andrew Owners put in as it relates to tourism, you understand where Andrew Owners' mindset is as it relates to capitalism. As it relates to capitalism, Michael Manley, democratic socialism, they are going to focus on what? Agriculture. Agriculture, manufacturing. We have gone down the wrong road in terms of being what? Partially a service economy. We need to come out of that into a manufacturing economy. That is what Knife is saying. And where, of course, the generation of the profit, you understand, can be properly utilized throughout the economy within the space of Jamaica. You understand what I'm saying? Now look for the next clip. Now look. And when you look, who you see now on the front page after Melissa? Let me show you who is on the front page. Right? And where he is not contributing any, you understand, I mean, well-needed benefit to Jamaica. Look who is on the front page here.
Jamaica is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Jamaica is going to be back. Jamaica is going to be better. I'm proud of my country, and I've never seen more unity ever in the recovery than this very moment and what is happening right now in Jamaica. My passport is a blue Jamaican passport. We love Jamaica. We love the Caribbean. And with your help, we will continue to make it bigger and better. Watch this space. Jamaica is going to be okay.
Look at this. Look at this. Adam Stewart, that's enough people.
Piece of shit that.
Adam Stewart, that's enough. Hey, you want to say? Jamaica is going to be better. And I love my country. Let me ask you a question, Adam Stewart. As I call to you that Jamaica is going to be better and you love your country, you sit on the Jamaica Tourist Board. You sit on the Jamaica Tourist Board. You are one of those persons who ensure that Jamaicans don't have access to their beaches. Brian Jordan, you are one of those persons. You are one of those persons that have your stronghold over Andrew Holness' neck. You are one of those persons that denied beach access. Come out and say it is lie, Brian Jordan. You who sit on the Jamaica Tourist Board, you who deal with the entire Sandals chain, how much of Sandals money as it relates to every dollar circulating in Jamaica? How much of it, Brian Jordan? How much of it? Majority of the money, Brian Jordan, that you make, the majority of the money that you make is outside of the country. It doesn't circulate in Jamaica. So how the fuck you love Jamaica? Play back again, make people hear what am I saying. Sorry on him. Play back again. Just play back again.
Bonfire mystic.
What do you mean? How the heck you love Jamaica? Play back again, make Jamaica hear it.
The boy, I get power nerves, man. Sometimes the fire for burn, my brother.
This is the big old dirty hypocrite here. You don't listen to Jamaica. You tell me how you love Jamaica. Listen to Jamaica. Listen to him. You ravish from Jamaica.
Gonna be okay. Jamaica is gonna be back. Jamaica is going to be better. I'm proud of my country, and I've never seen more unity ever in the recovery than this very moment and what is happening right now in Jamaica. My passport is a blue Jamaican passport. We love Jamaica. We love the Caribbean. And with your help, we will continue to make it bigger and better. Watch this space. Jamaica is going to be okay.
Who you think you're fool? Let me tell Jamaica something where they don't understand. Brian Jordan. Remember, you know, Brian Jordan. Right? You grew up with Darrell Vaz, you know. Yeah, I'm talk out on the business. Darrell Vaz is Bush Stewart, that's son, you know. Enough people don't know that. And you can't control Darrell Vaz. Look what Darrell Vaz has done to Jamaica. When you see how to control the place and lock down the place. All right, Brian Jordan, why you not control Andrew Holness? You don't know what Andrew Holness do wrong. Let me ask you a question, Brian Jordan, since you run out. Brian Jordan, you don't know what Andrew Holness is doing is wrong. So let me ask you a question, Brian Jordan. Do you, right, agreed for Andrew Holness statutory declaration not being certified and still be at the end? Let me ask you a question, Brian Jordan. You care about Jamaica, you say you care about Jamaica, and you care about your blue passport, and you love your blue passport. That is what you said, right? But you ravish Jamaica under the disguise of employment, where the people are not getting a lively, a living wage. The people that you employed in your hotel, they are not getting a living. As a matter of fact, Brian Jordan, let me tell the people them this. You institute the no-tip policy in your hotel. And I tell Brian Jordan, me ask for lie, I am telling. You, Brian Jordan, institute the no-tip policy in your hotel. If one of the guests them tip, you understand, your workers, they are going to be fired. Oh, you love Jamaica? Oh, you love Jamaica when you institute a non-tip policy in your hotel? How do you love Jamaica? That is how you care for Jamaica? Eh? And I talk about, yeah, me have a blue passport. Yes, and I love Jamaica. And yes, Jamaica is going to make you dirty hypocrite. You. Adam Stewart. Right? You Adam Stewart me attack. Right? That is how you love Jamaica. By going on a platform, yes, me have a blue passport, and yes, I love Jamaica, and I'm a Jamaican. But let me tell you what you are doing. You have a blue passport. You control the sandals chain. You are ensuring that beach access being denied. You institute the no-tip policy in your hotel. Am I lying, Brian Jordan? Adam Stewart. Keep on saying, Brian. Keep on saying, Jordan. Hey, Adam Stewart. Eh? You are on the Jamaica Tourist Board and you run out, but you have blue passport and you love Jamaica. You love Jamaica, your backside. Galang glad back bed. We want to change the face of the PSOJ. That's what Jamaica needs to do. Recognize Jamaicans. That's what Jamaica need to do. Put Jamaicans put Jamaicans within the PSOJ who are going to ensure that every damn cent circulate in the economy. Not of you people disguise that you are Jamaican and your interest is outside of Jamaica. Majority of the sandals money that sandals generate, right? Jamaica see it? Let me ask you a question, Brian Jordan. Jamaica see it?
Sure.
You don't know, sir, Adam Stewart, me I say, no. So if Mr. Jordan, you don't know it, you understand me? I say, right now, me tired. You understand me? I have so much things I think about. So you don't know how me I talk. Adam. Stewart.
Bush Stewart boy, man. Bush Stewart criminal, son.
You hypocrite them. Me the chat. Wearing father. You understand? Use Air Jamaica. Ring out Air Jamaica for carry people. You understand? To him hotel. You understand? Bankrupt Air Jamaica and then give back to the government. You see them love Jamaica? You see them fall in love with Jamaica? Eh? They are the ones, you understand, who hold bottleneck, you understand, and squeeze the life out of Jamaica. Brian Jordan.
Imminite too. Imminite, me know why you call him name so much. Imminite, because remember I'm the president for the tourist board, you know. I'm the president for the Brian Jordan is the president for the Jamaica Tourist Board. Yeah, but him, you know, him and this garbage, yeah, them collaborate, yeah, them collaborate to use the Jamaica tourist infrastructure for them one enhancement of wealth. Because Jamaica no have no tourists for them tourism sector for themselves. Yeah. Jamaica tourism sector is owned and operated by investors more so outside of Jamaica. And we're in the case of Adam Stewart, yeah, and his brother, Brian Jordan, them no contribute nothing to Jamaica.
No.
So when Adam Stewart
hold on a melting pot. At them back Andrew Holness. For Andrew Holness, I go on with what I'm going with.
We know that. We know that. Because them are get them, yeah, because them are get the likes from Andrew Holness.
Exactly.
All of the beach them are get from him. You understand? Because there are certain things that Jamaican people must know about the Prime Minister. He's compromised in so many ways. that him have to do as him been told, even though him are the leader of the country. You understand? But I want to shape a narrative now as it relates to Dr. Knife, yeah? And looking at the numbers them that him present, yeah? As it relates to the research for them done. And I mean them credible in that regard. Now, the fact that 80% of the tourist money stay overseas and 20% come to Jamaica. Yeah? And when that 20% arrive in Jamaica, 70% of that 20% stays within the operational cost of the industry.
Yes.
Yeah? Now, 70% of that 20 cents is 14 cents. So basically, the Jamaican government only gets 6 cents from each tourist dollars.
Yes.
So that is nothing. Yeah. I hear the government are lavish about the tourism sector. Nothing. You understand? Because when I talk about nationalization, you see if our tourism sector was owned by native of this country, yeah, then we would have a product that belongs to Jamaica. Currently, our tourism product does not belong to Jamaica. We are offering these people the incentive to invest into tourism. And the investment that these people make into tourism doesn't benefit Jamaica and Jamaicans. Yeah? This is why our country finds itself languishing in terms of development growth. This is why our GDP is so low. Yeah?
Yes.
Because there's nothing.
Yes.
There's nothing coming from the sector. You understand? When you
the focus is on tourism as opposed to focusing on agriculture. That's
and agriculture, right, and manufacturing. You understand? Because the simple fact of the matter, I know, Mystic and Lady Anne Marie, yeah, when you have a government, that is so attached to private sector, you're bound to have corruption. You're bound to have corruption. It's a set of family and friends and colleagues around Jamaica, A lot of people don't even know that. Now, when you look at what Bush had done with our national airline, rinse it out to a wreck and hand it back to the government in a bankruptcy situation. And now we don't have an airline carrier, but yet still they are making mention about 5 million tourist visitors to our island. But we did have an airline. We should have made money from these 5 million visitors. You understand? Where is our airline? We have one of the best airlines back in the days, the Lovebird. When they talk about aviation, yeah, that airline have no aviation problem. No aviation problem in terms of wreckage and all these things. It was a trustworthy airline, yeah, that flies all around the world with a maximum safety capacity. And that airline was run into ruins by Bush Stewart. Yeah? Bankrupt by Bush Stewart and handed back over to the government. But I know it was a hanky-panky gameplay. That was a scam the government used the airline to do. They milk out the airline, man. Rinse it out. And then divest it to Trinidad. Remember, if that pilot lose his life or you supply the airline, Man, cope with the idea so well, then all right. Him and some other pilot are going to take over the airline. Now that would have made the airline still remain a part of our national heritage. No. Them no want that. Them give to Trinidad. Yeah. And so, me no want a guy come tell me about 5 million tourists a come to Jamaica when we not have no airline to carry not one of them. But we didn't have a airline. So if you look at how these people mutinate the economy, chop it up in pieces, just to suit themselves. You know them guys that have no vision, you know, for the country and the people, them, you know. None. So when Adam Stewart now go make mention saying that Jamaica is going to be okay. Adam Stewart, how much money you donate to the restoration program? You piece of shit, you. How much money you donate?
Talk to him, Melting Pot.
Out of your billions where you make out of the country. How much?
None care about the water come.
None of them private sector guy you can't talk to, you know. Carl Grace Kennedy, we don't know them do nothing, you know. Giant in the economy. Giant in the society. An international brand. But none of them no donate nothing. And they cast out people them like the reggae artists them and them are donate. Remember the government cast out the artists them, you know. Cast them out because they come from, you know, obscurity background and become millionaire and well-traveled people with contract overseas. Them not like that.
Well, yeah? I'm strengthening your argument because see, Latland said something there. As standards paid their due taxes to begin with. Remember, Melting Pot, that some of the corporate taxes that were owed to Jamaica, you understand the very same standards chain.
Standards chain all that too. Yeah.
So this is why I am saying that Brian Jardim, you understand, Andrew Owens, you understand,
Adam Stewart,
Derek Valls, and the whole of them, you understand, as it relates to the capitalistic government, the whole of them will mash up the country.
Then a friend and Column.
Brian Jardim and
Adam Stewart.
Adam Stewart, right? They are the ones who are denying beach access. If the people that
right.
let me tell them. Right, and see Latland, right, asking the same question, so I am answering Latland. Latland, they were part and parcel as it relates to corporate taxes. Because remember when Nigel Clark run down, you know, you understand? We did have a budget shortfall. So Latland, they were a part of the budget shortfall in terms of owing corporate taxes. And come out now, come out, they talk about him have blue passport, him love Jamaica. You understand? Damn all dirty hypocrite them. They are vampires sucking out the economy and drying out the economy. Go ahead, Melting Pot.
Yeah, and from you hear me mention about blue passport, you know I'm a hypocrite. You know the narrative, you might paint a PR, stunt publicity. Exactly. We're not buying into that. Yeah. Because if you did love Jamaica, you'd have donate some money. You'd have donate some money for the restoration. Yeah. Program. You understand? But we have to just call a spade, you know. Yeah? And we know, say, as I just mentioned a while ago, you have a set of guy, you know. They're my friend, come along, and colleagues. You understand? Yeah. Them around Jamaica. Them are the white collar criminal where we have in the society. We have bleed the society. Yeah? Exactly. We have make sure no so them get almost every bit of the cent out of the dollar. Yeah, the little bit where the country get, it cannot sustain the country. When you have a country, yeah, that have so much visitor coming in, practically 2 times the size of a population, yeah, as it relates to the 5 million visitors. It's almost 2 times the size of our population. But our country can't grow.
They are suffocating our country. They are
exactly
our country.
And them are the one, and them are the reason. Yeah, and this is why we know Andrew Owens is playing a pivotal role in all of this. Because when you have a government who don't want to pursue corporate tax, something is fundamentally wrong. Because the tax is what you need to make sure you can have a budget. Tax are where you build your budget upon, based on your projected tax where you have out there. You understand? But Andrew don't go for corporate tax. So something fundamentally wrong with that, you know. Andrew get a lot of kickback, you know. Yeah. Because when you have a guy like Big Mama who get 10 write-off, but currently owe 1.5 billion and counting in corporate tax. When you have the same standard chain, yeah, who owe tax, and you have several more corporate entities that owe tax, they are tax delinquent in the society. But yet still the average man can't own none. You have your motor vehicle and you tax it, them seize it. You have your property and you tax it, them come take it. But these wealthy billionaires are allowed to get away with not paying their tax. What can go so? So something is radically wrong with this administration. Radically wrong. And just to prove a point, you see the close ties between the Jamaica Labour Party and Upper Big Mama Hatchery. Yeah? But this is the same entity that get 10 write-off and currently owe 1.5 billion. What can go so? You understand? We know Sandal not supposed to go to tax.
Let me say something, Melting Pot. Right? Whatever donations, right, that these corporate giants have been donated, right? It is not something that, yeah, we are going to hold up with and put it on the top of the mountain. Let me say this. Because the amount of money that they have ravished over the years, billions, trillions of dollars, for whatever compensation that they are doing now, doesn't mean to say that, okay, all right, it must go on the mountaintop, you understand? And that, okay, all right, they donate this and they donate that, right? They have been sucking the blood of the economy for years. So whatever donations that they are putting out now, it's only a drop in the bucket. So let us get that straight. Go ahead, Melting Pot.
But I don't even know of any donation because there's no checks and balance and no publication now come from within the government. Yeah. So them donation are secret donation. Yeah. Me want hear CEO of these multi-million entity come out publicly and state to the people of Jamaica how much you give the government. We don't want to hear from the government how much you give them. Uno if you come tell we. You understand? So the situation here, when me I look upon, is one of height of corruption between government and private sector organization in Jamaica.
Selling out the country.
Yeah. Selling out the country. And in some case, giving away the country. Yeah. And that is fundamentally wrong. Now I hear Dr. Knife make a very valid point. If the government can have so much interest in this type of tourism that they are creating, this lavish style of tourism, but only getting 6 cents from each tourist dollar. Why you don't focus on the eco tourism? Where you know that own and operate by the native of the island. So that's a form of my always idea of Jamaica becoming nationalized. That would be a national entity where all the money that it generates stay in Jamaica and circulate in the economy. Yeah. No, that is 100% solid proposition in comparison to these multi-billion concrete jungle where them below.
But let me inject something. When someone coming right on the platform and highlighting, you understand what Sanders giving away, or what that giving away, or Grace Kennedy giving away. Let me say this. What you need to understand, do an introspection. Right? They need to do an introspection. if Brian Jordan, right, and Adam Stewart allowed beach access, do you know how many Jamaicans would be benefited? Let me ask the person, right, who believe that, okay, they need to highlight, you understand what they are giving away. You know how many persons' livelihood, how many lifestyle would have been changed and elevated if these persons who are holding on to beach access and denying beach access, if these persons who are running the hotel with their all-inclusive and not including the local market to enjoy a piece of the pie, if they free up that, do you know how much people's life would be changed? Eh? So we don't, you know, the thing to highlight, give a little and take away the huge punch of the cake. So we know, you know, the thing that we go highlight them and praise them. So them give out a come, you understand, and them gone with the whole cake. We know, you know, that round us up. All right, go ahead.
And you're right, when you say a while ago mistake. Because remember, you know, when Jamaica have beach access, you know, people plan a trip and make a money from putting on a trip. Several people have planned trip. You can't plan the beach out again. You can't. You understand? I remember, you know, it's a knock-on effect, yeah, as it relates to the economy. Because when you put on a trip, you know, when the people them leave town and go in at them parishes there, you know, them spend with the local down there. The local economy boost, the vendor them sale go up. Because you ask the people to buy your product. You understand? So what we are highlighting, you know, yeah, is something that is much bigger than what them are doing it right now. We are talking about years of ripping off the country. Years of ripping off the country. You see, amongst all these big multi-billionaire conglomerate where we are looking at the hotel sector, all of them, if them combine them find the 1.24 trillion. But them not do it. But yet still, them want to see back Jamaica build back better and stronger. And Jamaica will be okay. Yeah, all you need for foot the bills. That you know for do if you want Jamaica okay. Because remember, you know, Jamaica coming like a mining ground phone, you know. Gonna mine out the economy. Yeah. No mine it out. So we have to just look on the whole situation, yeah, and address it as we know how it should. Yeah. This kleptocratic government has denied the people of Jamaica the rights to life. Yeah. Because right now, that government, you know, I kill the entire population with high cost of living as it relates to austerity measure and high inflation. Nobody can survive under Andrew Holness administration because the administration that gone rogue. Because corruption, yeah, is what Andrew Holness believe in and practice. That's how him run the country. This is why the country cannot help itself financially. This is why now we're going to have a food insecurity, which will rise our importation bill. Because you have to bring food to feed the people. And so the trade deficit, as it stands already, is a wide gap, and it's going to get wider because we will have nothing to export, but we have to import more. You understand? And then when you look on the knock-on effect now, yeah, as it relates to the economy, slow grind to a halt based on before and even now, as it relates to Hurricane Melissa, damaging so much workplace and so much people displaced out of a job. In the case like those 165 that employed at Megamart and many more places like the hotel them. Yeah. You know, say the economy grind. Someone want to know Andrew you go manage. Andrew want hear that about that 6.1 billion the way in net reserve, you know. Yeah. Go on to that, my boss. Talk to me about that money then. Go on to the net reserve. Where the country have. Oh yeah, I plan to utilize it. How much IT you use? Talk to it. God, that's the reserve, when we're in a crisis like this, where you're supposed to tap into, So you want them to say you're pump bars down the net reserve? Because I know you mention nothing about that. Because you're supposed to build back the country quick so you can get the economy up and running again. That's supposed to be your focus and your priority, Yeah. How swiftly you can get back the economy engine rolling again. So when Adam Stewart come out and talk, him not say nothing. Him not saying nothing. It's a photo up with a PR gone wrong. Because nobody know what type of color passport him have.
Yeah, what on the melting pot? We have a caller. What on the melting pot? Yes, caller, you're on Mystic Sensation. Go ahead.
Good night to you and the Mystic. Let me tell Jamaica people so.
Blessings.
You see the big industries that owe taxes and getting write-off, such as Big Mama Station, that is illegal under the government laws of Jamaica.
And you're right. You're correct.
That is illegal. And let me tell Jamaica so. The reason why farming will not go to the level that it should go to in Jamaica is because the government has been trying from Wapi Kill Philip to put the farming into the big man hands and have the small farmer them come work for them. And the small farmer are refusing, so it now work. It's the same thing while the creative industry not working. The only person that the government is investing is people like the man down a Montego Bay where keep sting. Those are the only ones the government want to see make money and killing the people. That's why, especially people in the hotel industry, they should wake up and realize that, listen, what Ed Bartlett was promoting, saying the hotel is going to build houses for you, is another form of controlling. What you know should be doing now is looking to yourself, hotel people, and say to yourself, who is the least paid hotel workers in the Caribbean?
True. True.
Least out of all the Caribbean people, you are the least paid. You guys should demand your pay, and you guys should stand up and see that the Jamaica Labour Party are the ones that are stopping you guys from getting unionized. You can't tell me we have the biggest industry in Jamaica and they cannot be unionized.
Speak up, my brother.
We have the biggest industry in Jamaica and it cannot be unionized because the Labour Party is stopping the people from unionizing.
Yeah. Brand jar them and him brother control him.
And you're telling me, and people should pay attention, when we had COVID, this is what misslip a lot of people, the amount of testing strips we got to use on the nation for free. The same people who involved in the drill, they had a field day with all the thermometers and everything that came in. All the strips that came in. We got more than what our budget was. We got $750 million loan plus all the rest we got, and Jamaica never advanced. And it's the same thing is happening right now. The reason why we cannot get this cleaning thing done or move anywhere is because under the Andrew Holness government, they want to ensure that everybody who gets work is labor right.
Exactly.
When we have all these shelters that has been established, and even Isaac is telling you, they have shelters that they don't have Starlink and they don't have generators. We have all those problems. If the government want to do something for the people of Jamaica, and we know what beg you got Japan and China go beg some of them houses there and come back and tell Jamaica. What you have to go down there go do is get some black machine where I make 2,000 and 3,000 black an hour.
Here you go.
For cheap. The sun is here and everything is here. And you start roll out some black and every day you just send black. My grandfather used to have black factory. So me I tell you say you can roll out 3,000, 4,000, 10,000, 30,000, 40,000 black a day. And you just ship it to the people.
Them now do that, my brother. Them not in a nothing name nation building. Nothing them nation building.
And this is what Jamaica people need to realize. We get light bulbs already. And it costs more than the light bulb to distribute the light bulb. The resources that we have received from overseas, we're going to be frightened to know how much it costs us to deliver it. And you see, even when me hear Damian Crawford is asking the man how much water is distributed, that's not what Damian should be asking. Ask him how much food he had, how much tons came into the country, and how much was distributed already. That's my 2 cents.
All right.
Melting pot. And big up the man in London, England, you know.
Big up yourself, brother. No respect.
All right, blessings, my brother. No, but before melting pot start back, right? We are make Jamaica know, you understand, the 5 demons of Jamaica who are wrecking Jamaica. Andrew Holness, Brian Jardim, Adam Stewart, Darrell Vaz, and Mitzi Seaga.
True.
These are the 5
100%.
demons that stop Jamaica success. Andrew Holness, Brian Jardim, Adam Stewart, Darrell Vaz, and Mitzi Seaga. The 5 demons that stop Jamaica progress. Go ahead, Melting Pot.
Yeah, and the caller make some very valid point, you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Solid point. Yeah. Because we know, say, Jamaican people know if you turn them and make fashion. You understand? And when you have places now where you go produce black and you can't get the people them black, I know time the people them put up them building, man. That's a solid idea. But Andrew now go down them part there. You know? No, not going down them pathway there. Andrew is a cheap guy. When it comes to looking after
them. They want to trick the people in the hurricane belt and take with them land. That's what they want to do. That's where they are going.
Then that's why I'm have the GIS system, man. That's why I'm have that come up with, you know. Geographic information system, you know. And the geotagging, you know. Where Andrew go with them there? So we know where I'm on to. Yeah, that's why I don't want to give the people them the resource, make the people them build back them life where they were. You want to move the people them in a scheme. But me I hear, hold on the Byron.
Go ahead.
You know, say Andrew come out and lie to the people them. I say he might get 5,000 house at them little container house from China within 90 days. Them they are Jamaica already, you know. Them they are Jamaica already.
Talk everything, Melting Pot.
Yeah, man. Some of the people them know say the house is them, the container house is them. Them they in Jamaica already. I lie Andrew I tell when them come out and talk about, you know, you might get 5,000 houses over a 90-day period. Them they are Jamaica already. Andrew a big time general in our society. I one of the biggest criminal we ever see in our region. You understand? So when Andrew, get all these money at him disposal, you understand? You see how I move stingy with it. Yeah? And I come the cheap way. I chop Andrew and chop the money. The houses them in Jamaica already. Long time. Cause long time I have this plan for them same houses here. That's
From
why you notice now. Right. That's why if you notice, you know, him not talking about no temporary, you know. Because when you give people houses, you know, you can't give them temporary. Especially when you are bringing this magnitude amount. Yeah? So if you give them temporary, you have to clean them up back. You have to take them. Where you going to do with them? Where you going to do with them, Andrew? So we know it's a permanent structure you give the people them. Them little plastic container houses there. With them big window and them big glass door. And no gunman are going to throw stone. Yeah? And no gunman are going to throw stone. Them they can't protect nobody from the society where you, Andrew Holness, and Dr. Crab create. Here, this lawless society as it relates to gun and shooting and number 3 in people. Yeah. Nobody can live in a them there. A death trap them there. And secondly, them they cannot withstand no category 5 earthquake nor hurricane. So kill you one, kill all the people in a droves. Because your plan is to destroy Jamaica, no wonder you start bringing some different race of people from all walks of life. Because right now, I don't hear so the Chinese community get damaged, you know. I don't hear nothing about them. I don't hear none of them lost them life or them maroon off. But my people, them a lose them life and maroon off and still maroon off. Yeah. And they on the begging list. You understand? After you use social media as the means of communication with the outside world. When the outside world done as sending help to the country, people them still have to cry to the outside world because you are owed all of the items and the money. Yeah? Just tell the people them say you have the container houses them at Jamaica already. So when you make it look like, you know, you just order them and them take 90 days to come like a something you're just into. A long time you're into this project and you have the house them already. Yeah. So don't go like you want chop the catastrophe bond insurance, you know. That 150 million US, you know, plus the 70 where you get from CRIF, you know. US give 11 million, UK give 2.5, and you get many more. You have several $1 million of hard currency when I talk about no Jamaican. Because Jamaican money are worth this money. We are talking about solid currency at your disposal. Several $100 billion you get right now. And you need to utilize it. Because it come for the people, you know. Come for enhance the people life. Right now, yeah, the mood in a Jamaica is a somber mood. The people them now have the upbeat, the upliftment of them spirit. Them not motivated. Because you know why? You don't collaborate with the opposition party to make things have a high spirit about it. Where everybody say everybody giant hands and heart, all hands on deck, working for one common cause. What you do? You separate yourself from the opposition. So the opposition are a part of Jamaica society. They represent a vast amount of people in the country. Remember, the PNP have more people than you supporting their party. So what you are doing, you are technically undermining more than half of the population using a demonic style of governance.
Well, Melting Pot, let me say something. Let me enhance what you are saying. Let me just give you some strength. It is the plan between Andrew Holness administration and the PSOJ, you understand, to keep democratic socialism, you understand, flatline.
Yes.
That's their plan.
Yes.
You understand? And that is one of the reasons why Andrew Holness can do all what he has been doing, you understand, and the PSOJ is not calling him out. Because Andrew Holness is ensuring that the PSOJ, you understand, they get all the benefits, you understand, that they need to get. You understand, the beach control and all of that, the best land and all of that, man, just rigged as it relates to capitalism. It's neo-colonialism, you understand, taking over the toll, you understand, and sucking the blood of our people day and night. Go ahead, Melting Pot.
Well, I say Andrew Holness doing a mistake. Yeah, I mean, I talk to the people that tune in, yeah, and I listen to the program right now. Where Andrew Holness doing, you know. Andrew Holness go after every policy where Michael Manley put in, you know, and destroy them, you know.
Because
Can't
they're
remember
killing
Michael.
democratic socialism.
Yes, because they want to keep right. They want to keep
socialism.
right. They want to keep capitalism alive and well in Jamaica. Yeah. So if you notice, even the beach, where that the man they talk about, yeah, and put it into law, the Beach Act. You know, so where the guy come do? The guy come destroy that, destroy the health sector where Manley build, him destroy that, starting from all the way back from Eddie Seaga time, but him now come cripple it. You understand? Education system where Manley build, him destroy it. The trust where Manley build amongst the people, him destroy that because Jamaica was nice. Nice. And when you look now, the housing development program where Daddy Manley create, the guy come on destroy it and replace it with container houses. You know, say Andrew a piece of shit. Andrew and him government, him cabinet member them, they're all shit. None of them no good for Jamaica. A criminal them we have in the place. Criminal. I'm here talk about outlaw criminal them. Them no have no secrecy about them criminality. It play out every day in front of our eyes. And on top of it, them a mercenary. Hold people to ransom. You understand? And so me I ask my Jamaican. Yeah. I'm asking my fellow Jamaican tonight. What is the solution you have in mind? I want to ask my Jamaican them how longer you want Andrew Holness and to hold the reign of the country. When we not going to lose the man off of the grip of the country. Because under this system where Andrew Holness are employed in our country, you know, everybody basically are going to perish. Perish one way or the other. If disease not kill you, hungry kill you, starvation. I remember, you know, that I go compound with mental breakdown, you know. Because your life in a ruins and tatters right now, you know, see no hope or no means of restoring your life. You can't build back. Because this guy not moving towards building back your life. You can't imagine you up a Tarban Hill, just put it so. Me don't even know if that exit, but just a call a name in a St. Elizabeth. Yeah, and you lose your house. But Andrea, what can you go a place in a scheme and take where you land up a Tarban Hill, where you used to plant your little banana and your sweet potato and your yam around your house and feed yourself and go to market hustle. Eh? And you want to take that using a thing called GIS, Geographic Intelligence System, Information System, and neo-tagging. People know wise up to this guy. Wise up. The time is now to wise up to every move that this guy make. Him say him not play draft, him play chess. So Andrew sure we say him smarter than we. Him can outsmart we at all costs. So I want to watch him chess move. Carefully, my Jamaican people. This guy is after the land them. This guy is after the land them. Do not trust his GIS, his Geographic Information System. Beware of it. Beware of his neo-tagging system. Because those two combination is recipe for disaster in my people. Where your mother and your father dead left here, your grandparents, you know. And you're going to take that and put you somewhere where you don't belongs to. And you want to build container house scheme. My God. while Michael Manley create National Housing Trust to build Jamaican solid home. Solid home where you can expand pan. You can add on to a container, you know. There's nothing you can do with a container house. No more home improvement can go on with that. You can't grill it. You left to the merciful balling and the gunmen them. Oh, you can't protect yourself in them the houses there. High power weapon not tear up that man. People dead. And that you can make money like whoa. And we know who they are. So we are look upon a system where this guy are creating our environment in our country called Jamaica, where my people, if we not take matters in our hand, it go bitter. It go bitter. Pound out there. And I yield back the floor.
All right. Before I yes, melting pot, but let me just speak to Jam Carty. You know, Jam Carty, right, based on what you have here. Yeah, I do agree with you somewhat in terms of anything better, right, as it relates to leaving those people exposed to the element. But what we are saying, right, Carty 1412, right, temporary, we have no problem with it. And you are perfectly right. Let me say that. You are perfectly right in terms of, you know, anything you understand that we can do, you understand, to, you know, have the people exposed to the element, right, is needed. You understand? Yeah, man, we welcome that. We welcome that, Carty. We really welcome that. But you understand, temporary, yes, right? But again, we have to look forward for a permanent solution. You understand? In terms of, you understand, making our people, right, have the opportunity where they can extend on those homes, right, building with blocks. And as what our caller said, that if we have the machineries to push out X amount of block, you understand, on a rapid basis, will help, you understand, to create that. If, you know, you're thinking, right, to build, you know, the generation, to, you know, to deal with upward mobility, right? And that is what we are talking about. You understand? Temporary situation, yeah, man, we accept that. You understand? Remember, when we are reasoning, you know, we reason rationally. You understand? It is not like we are rejecting them. You understand? That is not what we are doing. You understand? We accept. You understand? For temporary solution, get the people them out right now from exposing the element. Oh man, yeah, man, we hug up that, man. We hug up that. We hug up that. All right. Yeah, but going as far as talking about a scheme and all of them, something that you understand, as utilizing it for permanent structure, it wouldn't make sense, right? Because you have to be doing, you'd have to done you'd have to be to do a feasibility study, right, on it as it relates to certain building code. You understand? Have to deal with the category 5 situation as it relates to 185 miles wind power, right? No, I've said that they can build community factories for bricks and roof tiles. So this is what we are talking about. You understand? And we have likes like Latland. You understand? Someone who is highly educated as well amongst us. And Latland is really and truly a dedicated follower of Mystic Sensation. Latland, big up yourself. Respect you. Now, let us talk about Jamaica. We are going to venture into a little geopolitics thing. And let me say this before, right? I am just going to put my subjective view to it. If you agree in terms of what I'm saying, then, you know, it's okay. But for me as an investigator, right, we have to deal with evidence, right? And where the evidence is not supporting of a particular conclusion, then we just can't accept it, right? Because what the courts deal with, what the judiciary deal with 100% evidence. No form of hearsay, no form of opinion based, not like that. You have to have the evidence, you understand, and the judge make the rule based on the evidence presented. And that's how it goes with me. So now, where am I going? We are going to take a walk in the Caribbean Sea because we claim that X amount of drugs found. But watch this now, people. Let me just give the background, right? Because this subject, you understand, is really technical when it comes to geopolitics. And one must understand the basis, you understand, of certain pretext used, you understand, to achieve a particular goal, right? Now, we know that the United States and Venezuela, right, is at it right now, and whole things eating up in the Caribbean. So then, look at this now. I am going to show you the countries in the Caribbean that back in United States, right, as it relates to the situation with Venezuela. And we are going to show you the countries who are not backing United States and are defending, you understand, peace in the region. You know where Jamaica stand? Jamaica is not making a movement on it. Jamaica in the middle. So look, listen what I'm saying here carefully. Jamaica is neutral where that is concerned. Now, what caused Jamaica neutrality? But it appears as if that Jamaica want to make a move. Number one, what we know for sure, under no circumstances, Andrew Holness, you understand, can go against Donald Trump in terms of policy position and with Venezuela. But does Jamaica want a substantial reason enough for it not to make it look a way that is defending the United States as it relates to against Venezuela? And so then, they have to have a reason, you understand, to put in their support. Because again, you know, trying to be diplomatic. Now, watch this now, people. Let us show this clip. What we know of the Caribbean countries backing us, that is what, as it relates to the United States. Let us show the countries that backing, right? Andrew, backing Donald Trump. Let us show that, right? So we can get some better understanding of the situation and in terms of what we are saying. All right. Here it is, my people. I want you to see through this situation with me. Now, what we know of the countries backing U.S. military moves in the Caribbean, let me show you them. Now, the United States shared image on Wednesday of giant military exercises in Trinidad and Tobago as its armed forces amass in the region, building pressure on Venezuela President Nicolas Maduro. So Trinidad and Tobago is supporting the United States. There it is, Trinidad and Tobago, which is only 11 miles, 7 miles from Venezuela, at its closest point, has declared its full support for U.S. operation. Let us deal about this now. We are going to get technical now. So they believe that, okay, all right, United States, you understand, is rushing Venezuela because of drugs. Now, Guyana is also supporting United States. Guyana backed the U.S. military deployment in the Caribbean shortly after it started in August, saying it would support a collaborative and integrated approach to tackle transnational organized crime, as according to Guyana. All right, let us move on down the line. I'm showing you something now, people. Now, El Salvador, right, in early November, right, ANAC-130J military aircraft operated by the U.S. Air Force was spotted in El Salvador, Camalapa, cooperative security base, according to photos and satellite imagery obtained by CNN. The gunship can carry Hellfire missiles, but is primarily armed with large caliber cannons, right? So we know that El Salvador is back in United States. All right. Panama. Panama U.S. military personnel are conducting training exercise in Panama, although the government of President Jose Raul Mulino is trying to downplay the matter. You know where Panama stand. All right. Dominican Republic. President Luis Abinader said Monday that the Dominican Republic and the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration would launch much more extensive and in-depth actions in the fight against drug trafficking. You know, we're Dominican Republic dead. All right. Puerto Rico and other bases. Puerto Rico and self-governing U.S. territory in the Caribbean also plays a key role in the deployment as it contains the most of U.S. military bases in the Caribbean. So those are the countries, right, defending, right, United States. Now, let us get to the other document now. Share. Caribbean leaders call for unified. Let us get into this. We are showing something, and we are showing the background, right, and the you know, in a chronological sequence to show you, to have an understanding. Now, play it.
¿Hay un sentido de que esto...
¿A qué se refiere la libertad hoy? ¿A qué se refiere la democracia hoy? Cuando caen bombas.
¿Hay un sentido de que esto...
¿A qué se refiere?
All right. Okay, so this is the actual video. All right, so here's a video where the Caribbean leaders calling for peace.
La democracia hoy. Y un pueblo ha sido masacrado. Y ahora caen misiles en el Caribe.
Pero en la historia reciente, contemporánea,
lo cierto es que, pues, ha sido simplemente asesinado. Una ejecución extrajudicial, ya son decenas en este mar.
Hace 500 años, las amenazas a la democracia derivadas del autoritarismo.
Primeros ministros, vicepresidentes, cancilleres.
Okay, let us take this away. So, all right. But we have several Caribbean leaders, right, calling for a unified front, right? Now, in the United States of America itself, this is where now we are going to see it clear. Roughly about more than 70% of the United States of America is against Donald Trump doing this. And why they're against Donald Trump? They are saying, listen, people, that Donald Trump doesn't have one shred of evidence to support his claim against Venezuela as it relates to Venezuela involved in drug transshipment. Listen, 70% of the United States is saying that Donald Trump don't have the evidence. Now listen, people. Let us play that clip.
An Iranian support inside.
Karbaka, yeah. Karbaka. Yeah, play it now.
Lindsey Graham attempting to sell the war to the American public. This is basically how the war is being sold to the American public. And I guess I have to zoom in here.
Yes, you do.
I have to zoom in to see it myself. Should I do it in Lindsey Graham's voice? This is Lindsey Graham. Let me have a glass of rosé real quick. That is absolutely zesty. To those who wonder about what's going on in Venezuela, you should understand President Trump is deadly serious about stopping the narco-terrorist state of Venezuela from continuing to poison Americans with illegal drugs. President Trump also believes Maduro is an illegitimate leader. It sounds like one of his staffers wrote this. Is an illegitimate leader whose days are numbered. I agree with President Trump's assessment of the situation in Venezuela. I do not consider Maduro a legitimate leader, but rather a drug trafficker who has been indicted in U.S. courts. Bush 41 took Panamanian leader Noriega down under similar circumstances. There is a drug caliphate in our backyard that includes Venezuela, Colombia, and Cuba. I'm very glad President Trump is dedicated to ending this reign of terror. The sooner Maduro leaves, the better for the people of Venezuela and the United States. That is America first. And according to Reuters Ipsos poll that came out today, 21% of the American public supports Lindsey Graham on a U.S. military intervention in Venezuela. 21%. I didn't know that there were that many gusanos, escualidos, and defense contractors in America. That's a large number. But it's actually a very small minority of Americans who support Lindsey Graham there. And the lie is drugs, the war on drugs. But notice how he slips in the word caliphate, drug caliphate. That's because they're going to try to claim that Venezuela has Hezbollah cells and Iranian support inside its territory, and that it actually threatens America when most Americans are done with it. They're not believing the WMD lies. They know that Venezuela poses no threat to the U.S., and this is about oil and contracts and plunder and neocolonialism and crushing independent government that doesn't take marching orders from the U.S. regime.
All right, take it away.
But the lie is
I
cartels.
just want
that Nicholas
you to hear that. I just want you to hear that, my people. The lie that concocted by Donald Trump as it relates to Venezuela and about drugs. As we speak, Donald Trump administration had killed 72 people and not one evidence. Not one evidence. So I am just playing to show you that all what Donald Trump wants is a change regime. You understand? And it's about oil. To take over the people oil. Remember what Donald Trump had done with the Central Five? Lied on them. And even when those black youths, you understand, found innocent, Donald Trump paid thousands of dollars in ads to spread propaganda against them. Lie. Now, where Jamaica stand? Jamaica wanted to support Donald Trump because Andrew Wallace have to support Donald Trump. So then look what happened now. Bring up the other document. Look what happened now. All of a sudden, Jamaican find be a load of drugs. Let me talk about it. Right? Here it is. All of a sudden, you notice Andrew Wallace not up on the island, you know. Acting innocent. JDF Coast Guard seizes cocaine valued over 3.7 billion off the coast of Jamaica. Isn't that this cell in the talking point of Donald Trump? Wanting to say, yes, there is evidence that Venezuela, right, is dealing with drugs. The truth be told, take that away. Let us reason this out. The region is very fluid, with American spread out all over. The question I'm asking, why any person would be so stupid to know that the Caribbean Sea, as it is, being monitored by satellite, that United States can see every movement that take place. Jamaica has a memorandum with the United States. This boat that they so-called found with drugs, they didn't have no video and nothing to show. And you are going to tell me that in spite of the building up, the lie that Donald Trump told, the building up of military might in the Caribbean Sea, some nincompoop in an head is going to run drugs in that fashion, knowing that United States, you understand, is killing people in the water. You tell me, people, no matter how stupid you are, would you do something like that? So then I am saying, okay, where is the evidence? Goes back again. Jamaica JDF. Where is the evidence? No video that you were pursuing these persons with drugs. Where did you get the drugs from? Isn't this selling into the narrative to support Donald Trump? Isn't that what this is about? So, okay, between the next 2 weeks, where Jamaica is going to stand. So then if you see that Jamaica comes out and support Donald Trump publicly, is Jamaica is going to resort that, okay, drugs was found in support of Donald Trump going against Venezuela? Wake up, Jamaica. More than 70% of the Americans don't believe Donald Trump and know that Donald Trump is lying. The Americans are asking Donald Trump, where is the evidence? He cannot present it. Caribbean leaders are asking Donald Trump, where is the evidence? He cannot present it. So then what? Is Jamaica is going to concoct something in support of Donald Trump? To do what? So then, as it relates to where I stand, I don't believe that shit. Plain and simple. Right? What say you on the matter, Melting Pot?
Well, the matter is one of cause for concern, because we see a senior military from within the U.S. Navy resign over the same fiasco. You remember Mystic?
Yeah.
Yeah. A top man resigned because him know if you facts well then something, yeah, is wrong with the whole operation. And he resigned.
Yeah.
Because as you rightfully say, Byron, and I mean 70% of the people in America are saying, where is the evidence? Remember, US have the capability to look right through the vessel and can identify and show what's inside of the vessel. And the simple fact of the matter that they have carried out so much operation strike and over 70 people lost them life. Yeah. But we haven't seen any contraband relating to cocaine being confiscated during any of the operation. It begs us to believe. But we know what is the motive. Yeah. Because remember, when Donald Trump was on him campaign for his presidential running, One of his top slogans was to make America great again. No, you can only make America great, by getting the resource that America requires, such as bauxite from Jamaica, oil from wherever in the Caribbean, like Guyana and Venezuela. And, we know of these. So the whole idea, that there's an operation of such a large scale within the Caribbean basin, that is currently manned by U.S. Navy Force, is cause for concern, because the region has never, seen anything of this like. It's a peaceful region, the Caribbean basin. Our waters are not prone to having war vessel anchored in our region and, overhead surveillance and all these things, and this type of brutal activity where vessel has been blast and people lost them life. So we have to look at it now as geopolitics being played. And America and the Donald Trump administration is the prime candidate for such activity. Because we know Donald Trump operate. We see him do the same thing with Ukraine against Russia. He want Ukraine rich mineral from the soil.
Exactly.
And to sign up a little hanky-panky deal. When friend Putin benefit from. Zelensky stand up against that. Him discriminate Zelensky over him dress code and all these things. Time never get what him want. And him threaten for, withdraw him supply of arms and intelligence to Ukraine. So we know Donald Trump operate, Donald Trump use the people who him have at him mercy. And one such individual is Andrew Holness. Trump have him at him mercy and several of cabinet members. And this is why Andrew have to take the stance that him take by sitting on the fence when other CARICOM leaders have come out and state categorically what are their intention and what they are supporting from what they're not supporting. Everybody voice them opinion in a strong manner. Andrew does not speak. Now we know that Andrew is the president of CARICOM. Does Andrew act like the president of CARICOM? No. And CARICOM make a mistake by appointing this guy. Because CARICOM should have known him background. But may that it be, CARICOM now have to look at Andrew Holness as a person that does not command the respect of the rest of CARICOM heads of state. And so they must relieve him of that post. Because him cannot make a decision one way or another in regards to any of the country in a CARICOM. Because if him can't make a decision over one country, then it might make a decision over other country. Nobody now going to listen to him because he's not credible. So even if him says something in regards to anywhere else in the region, nobody not take him thing as nothing solid enough. Them don't even take it at face value. Them not listen to him. Because all of them know him compromise, and it's one way Andrew look is to look in the direction of Donald Trump and United States. So right now, I don't even know how China have view him, Because I have China in my backyard, I work China, find some deal where I'm going to benefit him and China. And him knows that China and United States are two enemies right now. In the political scheme of things, the relationship between China and America is not 100. No matter how much time you see Trump meet the president to China and how much handshake, them have serious issue. Tariff is one major issue. Geopolitical land space as it relates to Taiwan and Hawaii and all them places there. Yeah. A major concern in Jamaica. Trump don't really want America so close to him. So there is a geopolitical warfare going on. And where Jamaica and China is in a Trump backyard. Trump see Jamaica facilitating China in a Cold War, in a soft war atmosphere. You understand? Harboring one of your enemy in your backyard. So Andrew Wallace now have to tread carefully because Andrew walk on a thin line with the US law enforcement. Andrew knows say them can come for him at any time if him not give them what they want. So Andrew have to do the ultimate thing and support Trump. And this is why Andrew cannot speak in regards to what is the real issue in the region. Our region is a region that has always prided itself and, you know, a safe region. No warfare amongst countries in the region. Peaceful region. Yeah. But here is Trump now stirring up anger, and Andrew cannot, as one of the largest country. Yeah, one of the largest country.
But hold on, let me inject just a little bit. I'm going to give you, just give me a minute. I am saying that, okay, all right. Trump accusation as it relates to Venezuela, right, involving drugs, right? Now, come on. We know that United States have the technology, right, in terms of extracting that evidence. It's simple. If you want to prove to the world, right, that what you are saying is correct, right, and that, okay, all right, your accusation as it relates to Venezuela, right, dealing in drugs. The simple question, why not prove it?
Then that we are Byron.
Why not prove it? No, number one, why not? All right, in terms of those 72 people that you have killed, you are going to tell me of the 72 people that you have killed, you are not able to get one single strand of evidence to show, yes, here is the drugs, this is the pursuit, and this is the evidence. Not one. Come on. Anyone who wants to believe this, that's their business. But I am not going to believe that. Go ahead.
We can't believe it. I remember, you know, America discredit Maduro, you know. Them say him not credible. It's like them not regard him as a man for Venezuela. It's like he would have carried out a coup and gain presidency. Them not see him as democratic elected or, you know, being chosen by the people. And that's what them have said. So you have to look at it and say that is the real issue at hand. Trump don't like the guy because the guy don't want to submit to Trump. So Trump now using, you know, all we have at him disposal, him create a narrative, say a drugs war him a fight. Yeah. First of all, him label Jamaica as the transshipment hub. Yeah. Now if Jamaica was the transshipment hub, I would have think say would have more in a Jamaican territory and a man the transshipment hub. Stop the drugs them from come to Jamaica. But you switch part him there. And you see him at, you know the whole narrative, because remember, I know.
Yeah.
The bricks.
The bricks. Hold on, give me a break there, Pat. Let me speak to my brethren, Seaga Carty. Now, Seaga, this is what I'm saying, Seaga, right? And let me say this, I respect your opinion, right? You said that they can zoom in on you from space, All right, just imagine what you said, Seaga. Well, that is what we are saying, Seaga, to say that they have the ability and the technology. And I am saying of the 72 deaths that occurred and the accusation against them that they involved in drugs, I am saying, Seaga, give us one evidence in terms of the pursuit, right, and the evidence of drugs. That's what you are saying, right? Now, this is what I'm saying also. If Donald Trump goes into court, what I am asking for is going to be the very same thing that a judge is going to ask. The judge is not going to make a decision on Donald Trump's opinion. The judge is going to ask for the evidence. Right? You can't bring opinion into court. That doesn't work in court. What works in court is the evidence. So while I respect your opinion, Seaga, I am saying, right, we want to see the evidence. Other Caribbean leaders are saying they want to see the evidence. 70% of the United States of America citizens, they are saying the same thing. They want to see the evidence. That's all we are saying. Go ahead, Melting Pot.
Yeah, and just looking back at the whole scenario, as well we know, the BRICS now is an issue for Donald Trump. I remember, in our clipping where you just played, it mentioned Venezuela and Cuba as, dealing in cocaine and transshipment pine for cocaine. Now, in the terms of Cuba, I don't know Cuba to be a country where, gone down the road there. But the simple fact that Cuba and Venezuela sign up for the BRICS, Donald Trump will label them as cocaine country. Because we know Cuba is a country where
you hit the nail
them
on
cut
the head,
off from the world.
You hit the nail on the head, Melting Pot.
Yeah. Cuba no in them something there now. Cuba people mentality are something different from this. I remember the teaching of the Cuban population and society at large. It's Fidel Castro teaching. Fidel Castro are recently dead. So I know the Cuban population don't move away from Castro teaching and philosophy. Yeah. Because I one thing with Cuban, them train the most doctors and nurses. And them know what cocaine we do to them people in the country. They are adverse to that. So when you hear mention say Cuba and Venezuela, yeah, are dealing a cocaine trade, I lie my tell. Because them move them, finance status to BRICS and allow IMF and US dollar. So we know the background of where Trump work off. We know the blueprint where I work off.
Yeah.
The one where I presented, I know that are the blueprint. The BRICS are the blueprint.
Give me
and
a
the
little minute
affiliated
again.
country.
Give me a little minute again, Melting Pot, because
Yeah, man, come in, man.
a reason, and we want to have a good reasoning and understanding, and that we come to an objective opinion. So see, Jam is saying, but Mystic, honestly, for you, do you think, all right, that he will bomb you if you were just fishing, just asking? All right, let me say something to you, John Carty. If you remember the Central Park 5, Donald Trump knew very well that those black guys were innocent. And even after the court released them, free them, you know what Donald Trump did? Take out ads, campaign, and spreading propaganda that they were guilty. So I will leave that with you for you to decide who is Donald Trump, right? The court found them not guilty. And as a matter of fact, the person who had done the crime, right, confessed to the crime. So look at it as it relates to Donald Trump accusation against the Central Park Five, knowing very well that they were innocent and went to the length and breadth in taking out ads against them. So think of what I'm saying. CJ. Bless yourself, you know me respect you. You understand? Trust me. So we are just reasoning rationally. Go ahead, Melting Pot.
Yeah, man. So I just geopolitics Donald Trump play right now. It him concerned about, yeah. Making America great again, yeah, by having the strongest economy, by, you know, aligning itself to most of the country, especially in the region of the CARICOM and Central America and South America. Yeah, that a Donald Trump ultimate, you know, goal we must strive for. Yeah, you're ruffling feathers when you sign up to the BRICS. And we have to call a spade because of great concern to United States. Remember, the US dollar are one of the major currencies we trade around the world, you know. And the reason for that is because several of the countries sign up to that currency. You understand? Now when you move away, it's just like you have a shop and you lose your customer. Your business are go slow up. So this is why you hear Donald Trump talk about making America great again. Donald Trump have to bring back the strength of the American economy. This is why he pursue the tariff from people who not comply with him. You understand? So there's a lot of variance with this guy. So you have to tread carefully when you analyze Donald Trump and how him operate. You have to study him. You have to study him and study him carefully. And for you to analyze Donald Trump, you have to be wise to him move where he make and know the repercussion and the ripple effect where it have. Him want to make sure no say China not have a foothold in a film region. And film region is the Caribbean, South America, and Central America. That's what Donald Trump responds for.
Solid teaching, Melting Pot. Solid teaching.
Yeah. And people have to know that. A film region that. No matter where you see him go in the other part of the world, I just him wait him at show when him go to them place there. Yeah, and because other country look up to him and United States, yeah, as a country where, you know, to rally around certain crisis in a world affair. But the region where in a back pocket where belongs to him is the Caribbean, South America, and Central America. So if you have China a closing in a film territory, him not like that. So anybody who know a link to China, him going to destroy you. This is why him try to get rid of the Cuban doctors and nurses from other countries so that they can earn. Because when them earn, it boosts Cuba economy. And Donald Trump want to have Cuba in the same predicament as when Cuba was cut off from the entire world and labeled as a communist country under Fidel Castro. Where you see Cuba have to resort to a thing called self-reliance 100%, basically. Where Cuba never know nothing about rice again. A cornmeal becomes to them rice. Cornmeal and peas are for Cuba, rice and peas. So we have to understand how the geopolitics are played. And so we just know say Donald Trump create a fiasco. Yeah. But that cost people life. 72 people lose their life for nothing. Because him have the technology at him disposal to show to the world. Say, yes, see that them have it, see vessel, see it loaded cocaine. This is what we have prevent from escalate throughout the region. Him can't present that. So as you rightfully say, you can't go in a court I'm gonna tell the judge, say, judge, at this or that. You have to carry the evidence. You have to present the evidence. And Donald Trump can't present the evidence right now. And as I say in the opening remarks, one of him top army personnel resigned from the same operation.
Exactly. Because he does not agree with it.
Him don't agree with it. Because what him see is a thing called, cruelty to humanity. Cruelty to humanity. And that the man pick up and decides that him no want to be a part of it. Yeah, and when you see a man who have a senior post in the US Navy and relinquish that, yeah, you must have to start take note. Must be a reason. And it's a reason where if don't support the immoral compass, don't reflect on that operation as something we want to be a part of. So he recluse himself from the operation by resigning. Him can take the cruelty with Trump order the United States Army to carry out in the region. Where people just up on the sea doing them normal chores, yeah, because remember, everybody got to see, a qualified people operate on the sea. People were used to operate the sea. And them just lose them life like that. And as you rightfully say, Sir Byron, since that activity, yeah, I think it commenced some in our August, them start the activity there. And, a lot of people is fully aware of what is happening. So nobody would risk them life to take the sea with cocaine to come to Jamaica for our Coast Guard them confiscate it. They wouldn't do it because them know them don't stand a chance. So why me I go just say, well then all right, load up a vessel with some cocaine, head for Jamaica when me know say 99% me now come back or Trump go blow me out of the water. We wouldn't run that risk there. So this cocaine bus, where we are here about this 3.7 billion, we know say a stage between Andrew Holness administration and United States under Donald Trump. Because we don't tell you and show you how much compromise Andrew is. Yeah? Where United States is concerned, Andrew is well compromised. Him have to do as him told. You understand? And this is one reason with Donald Trump vindicate him operation by having drugs now, yet being confiscated in the Caribbean region by who? Jamaica. A guy who sit on the fence. Yeah? A guy who can't declare him on. I don't have film region. Why not find in a Trinidad and them place there?
Exactly. All right, Melting Pot. Give me 2 minutes. Let me strengthen your point in showing the world what is happening. Okay, thank you. All right.
Donald Trump isn't saying a word. Hello and welcome to Times XP. I am Thruti Athri, and a quiet island, an abandoned US naval base, and all of a sudden, lights, moment, and military trucks. Something secret is unfolding in Puerto Rico, and it has Trump's fingerprints all over it. Let me tell you about the base that has been dead for years, and now it is coming back to life. For almost 2 decades, the Roosevelt Roads Naval Base, it sat silent. Empty docks, in fact, locked buildings, no American warships. But last week, locals noticed something really strange. Fresh paint on old hangars, new antennas, and also there were cargo planes landing at odd hours. It looked like a ghost waking up from the dead. And now intelligence analysts say that the quiet reopening wasn't an accident. it was a signal. Basically, a hidden message to Venezuela. Why now? Why this base? Because it sits perfectly positioning near the Venezuelan coast. And here, the United States officials believe that this is Trump's way of saying that we are ready if things explode. No public announcement, no press conference, just action. And in geopolitics, my friend, silence is often the loudest message. Then came the military footprints, read satellite images, which showed something even more dramatic: new radar systems, refitted runways, in fact, fresh fuel depots, and sudden surge of personnel. These are not any cosmic repairs, by the way, these are preparations. Is it a preparation for the war? Maybe. Preparation for long-term operation, preparation for rapid deployment, preparation for a crisis that Washington clearly sees coming. In the meantime, Venezuela reacted. Well, Caracas is very, very angry. Officials close to Maduro are calling it a provocation and pre-war posture. But here's the twist. Even American allies in that particular region were caught off guard. Nobody expected Trump to quietly reactivate an entire naval base. And now they are asking the same questions again and again. What does Trump know that we don't? So here's the bigger story. This isn't just a few ships or new buildings. This is about the Caribbean turning into geopolitical chessboard, with the US and Venezuela standing face to face. Now, here experts warn that this could reshape the entire region, be it migration routes, be it oil shipping lanes, be it military alliances. Everything is suddenly on the table. Basically, it's a showdown that is brewing in silence. Trump hasn't said a word publicly. The Pentagon is refusing to comment, and the White House is acting like nothing unusual is actually happening, but the facts on the ground says otherwise. A dead base has come back to life. A new buildup is underway, and the Caribbean is holding its breath. Something big is coming, and the world can feel it.
Okay, so let me say this publicly. Jamaica, this has nothing to do with drugs. That Donald Trump is going to roll out the entire, a significant portion of the United States artillery. It has nothing to do with drugs. And don't be naive. Go ahead, Melting Pot.
Yeah, and the size of the operation we will see. It will tell us say United States wouldn't have to deploy so much war vessel and aircraft and all these things just to monitor drugs trafficking. Yeah. But just look, that airstrip over 2 decades, it now in a operation Roosevelt in a Puerto Rico. Yeah. And so him commission back that into operation without any warning, any information. It coming like how you see Russia invade Ukraine by moving in the troop them into Crimea. And when it was when Putin was approached as to the reason, him say that training exercise. Yeah, but from a training exercise to our full-scale war between him and Ukraine, that has now gone into its 4th year.
Exactly.
So we have to,
solid point.
yeah. So we have to be careful of, this type of movements when we see Trump orchestrating the region. Because remember, he's a guy we can't trust. Yeah? And he's a guy we lie like Andrew. Trump lie like Andrew, Yeah? And wicked just like Andrew, or wickeder than Andrew. You understand? And remember, say, Donald Trump, I'm last term. Him can't run again. So Donald Trump will make sure no say him destroy a region or the entire world. Because him not seek no popularity from no voters again, No. The only thing what Donald Trump do is try to leave a legacy for the Republican Party continue. Yeah, in government. But in terms of dealing with things on neutral basis, Him not in that. Donald Trump deal with things with suit Donald Trump and United States of America. And as I said, the geopolitics we are playing, everybody know about it. Yeah? Donald Trump been hurt by the fact that China has a commodity that a lot of countries signing up to and leaving his brand, which is the US dollar, his institution, which is IMF. You understand? So that is a problem. Nothing to do with drugs. Or else, Donald Trump could have, we know him style already and him profile. But I show it to the world. He would have. So the fact that we can't see no exhibit, yeah, from the operation, we only see vessel blown out and people lose their life, it tell you say something is wrong with the information that Donald Trump and United States military official them have put out. And as I said, a senior man leave the post. I'm talking about a top senior, I'm not talking about senior. Me I talk about the top of the top where seniority is concerned.
Oh yeah.
Leave the position, resign with immediate effect. Because when the man realize we are going, the man say, but hold on. That's something different we come down for. The briefing where we get, we don't see not like this going on so. What we are doing is kill innocent people and destroy them vessels and create a narrative where we can't put out no evidence about the narrative. And so that man with sense of humility, yeah, in regards to human life, he resigned the post. So the lies where Donald Trump tell, Andrew Holness back it. Because I have no other choice. Andrew have to back the lie where Donald Trump tell. Because two liars meet, That's why Donald Trump use him, Him have to back the lies. When you hear Amir Matley and, the Prime Minister of Trinidad and all these places come out and speak, yeah, and can speak with a sense of purpose. Our Prime Minister Andrew Holness can speak with no purpose. Him dep on the fence. And him say him neutral. But we know him not neutral, because him can't neutral, He might be in a movement with Donald Trump, so you know him in a gear. Donald Trump use him in a way where him can use him. So if Donald Trump just say, you what now? Andrew, I want you to get your Coast Guard them for us. Stage a little prank operation, and put it out. Yeah? I want you to just carry some of them things where you have down there, where you not destroy. Yeah? Some from the previous shipment there. And just come say, well, then you confiscate $3.7 billion worth of cocaine. After you're sure. You understand? Because I want you to stimulate when me I tell the people them. Yeah, by adding somewhat fuel to the fire. And that Andrew and the Coast Guard them doing at Jamaica. And them wrong to do that. You cannot play a dirty game like that by making allegation of something that does not exist, Andrew. And the Coast Guard them. Because Andrew run the army, Everybody in Jamaica must realize that Andrew in charge of the army in the country. So when Andrew send them for them operation, they have to go and deal with it. And report as how you hear them report. And the report is inaccurate. And I yield back the floor, my brother.
Well, all right. Thank you for those insightful, right, info, melting pot. On point, right, as it relates to geopolitics, right? Love the articulation of that. And of course, indeed, right, you are so correct, right, in terms of covering everything. Well, you hear it from the melting pot, you hear it from the Mystic Sensation, and you hear it from Nana herself, right? I'm going to now end the program, and I want to say big thanks for Melting Pot to always articulate, you understand, in a very powerful, all right, punch of awareness, big up yourself, melting pot. Wifey, over to you in terms of closing.
Okay, guys, I want to say a big thank you for tuning in as usual, and just want to say have a wonderful rest of the weekend, and tune in to Reason with Rattigan tomorrow at 3 p.m. New York time. Bless up yourself, melting pot. Thank you so much for your wisdom as usual, and have a wonderful and blessed night. Stay safe and safe travel on the gravel until next time.
All right.
Bye.
Blessings are out.
I know why you come to me with that foolishness, you know. You elect a prime minister, and is a prime minister run the country. It is time we learn to hold our leaders accountable for their actions and stop making excuses for them. Stop making excuses. Otherwise, go elect the people who really run in the country. And I don't want the right start that stupid argument. Hold the people you elect accountable and stop making excuses for them.